You are watching Sound Candy Talk live.
That is terrible and not for you. And that is the thing we are crying for. Let me get them quickly and then George will
You are watching Sound Candy Talk live.
Team 001. Okay, George, then you can come in. That. Okay.
You are watching Sound Candy Talk live.
Yeah, Ruderman, if you can hear me, kindly mute your mic. Okay, I hope I'm really audible. It's very, very refreshing to sit in such spaces and continuously hear names like Maraga. For one reason, we've all come to associate Maraga with what you would call the character of a leader we're looking for, with what you would call somebody who follows the rule of law, somebody who upholds the constitution. But now Maraga is just a brand. He's just a number plate of that vehicle we're looking for, the vehicle we want to steer, that the vehicle is good governance. So I believe this movement is still in some sort of metamorphosis. And I believe the final form it will take, then it will be our vehicle good governance, but it might not necessarily have the number plate by the name Maraga. And we should all be really prepared for that. It should not even come as a shock, because I'm looking at Maraga's character here and I'm like, is it not possible to find Maraga's character in George, in Leol, in Escowino, in Chaponji, Betinjeri here and there? It's very possible. So we can all together skip these old generation that we keep talking of and find the same good character we're looking for amongst ourselves, because truly, it exists. We don't always have to fixate our eyes on a Messiah. We always have to believe we are the Messiah we are waiting for, because if something was to happen to Maraga, God forbid, then I would really not want us to fall into that game of compromises, starting to say, now that Maraga is out of question, I think Wamunyoro is now an option. I think Matiang'i is now an option. I think Ruto can change. I think we need to be brave enough to take that metamorphosis cycle to the end without fear. And one way or another, we are going to find our way. Let us not fear. We just have to consistently build on that and actually not compromise.
Kim, before you came in, I don't want you to lose your train of thought. Before you came in, I think both Keita and Mutai led us through a generational or intergenerational discussion. We had our own conclave in here. And some of the issues that came up is the language, like we need to get to away with these old people. So how then you as a leader who is younger going to fight for my rights who is older, and I'm a person of integrity, and I'm embraced by the Constitution to also run for office. So don't I qualify? Are you not discriminating and using the same Constitution that you're trying to uphold? What do you make of that argument, Kim?
Justice, I lost you for the last bit, kindly.
The last bit is that I find your language of we don't need to go to these old people for leadership. I find it discriminatory and against the Constitution, and of course not accommodating everybody that you are trying to fight for. Why should ageism be a factor in terms of your leadership?
Yeah, truly, I get where you're coming from, and actually it is that old people that is bringing an issue here. If it was in text, I would have put it in double quotes. But now that it's in speech, I believe being a young person does not necessarily mean that I'm a good, I'm qualified or I'm a good leader in that sense also. Age does not also disqualify Maraga from being the best leader that we're looking for. But we've come to say that we, as we keep appreciating generations, there are those weaknesses that you'll always find and they kind of keep repeating themselves. It is something we need to appreciate and actually speak about it. It's not that we're doing away with our our parents. The Maragas of this world are our parents. We disagree with them based on their generational thinking, the way they were taught to look at things. At times they think we, the young people, are too fast, too impatient, but it's us. You see, those are the kind of small things I'm saying. We can actually go all the way and actually get the Maraga in our generation that fits our way of thinking that can actually take us forward. I have nothing against Maraga at this moment.
In Mujadala's initial presentation, he did indicate that the issue of young people being fast, impatient, thinking they know everything, it is not something new. In fact, in his statement, he did make it clear that even as we thought that way, until we grew up and realized that we were actually not right. So could it be that probably it's important to recognize that when you are that young age, it's typical. That's how people think. And maybe those who have been there, done that, it should be listened a little bit. That's my last question to you. I'll give it back to Peter.
Okay. I'll just use like a minute or so to put that into some sort of an example. In governance, you'll find there are decisions that will be made, either national matters or whatever matters, but they'll have to be made by whoever will be holding that mantle. But you've seen the process of decision making. There are things you can rush, there are things you can't rush. But as things stand in this country, you've seen the bureaucracy in things that don't require bureaucratic processes. Those are the kind of things I'm actually saying. We can actually speed up things that can be sped up. We can actually take our time in things that require time. We can actually respond with actions with things that don't require talking, just actions. And we can always talk where it demands that people sit down and hold conversations. That is all I'm talking. I'll actually go forward and touch on this thing of resources, which is the question of the day here.
1 more minute.
Kindly, yeah. About where without resources. I tend to agree that we'll need resources at some point to achieve our goal, which is actually to save our nation from all these bad leaders that we have. What I don't agree with is the values that keep coming up based on past elections, that this is the minimum amount a candidate can requires to actually run a successful campaign. I really don't believe we know these humongous figures, those billions they keep quoting here, but we'll need a lot of resources, but it might not be those humongous figures. Also, it's at that juncture that I pose this question. Now that at some point we realize we cannot outmuscle the state in terms of resources, does taking the pinch out of what money does during campaigns, doesn't that become actually what I would call like a more useful way, so that now we can be on the same page? Because we'll have to change two things here. We'll have to change the way we campaign and the how. The how means we cannot play the game. We cannot win by playing the game. We somehow have to change the game. And and the other part becomes the how we message, how we talk actually. We cannot beat them by speaking the way they speak, by promising the way they promise. We outrightly have to change that conversation to something they are very uncomfortable with, and that will be more or less what I would call what was that word I used? We always have to believe we are the Messiah we are waiting for, because if something was to happen to Maraga, God forbid, then I would I would really not want us to fall into that game of compromises, starting to say, now that Maraga is out of question, I think Wamunyoro is now an option. I think Matiang'i is now an option. I think Ruto can change. I think we need to be brave enough to take that metamorphosis cycle to the end without fear. And one way or another, we are going to find our way. Let us not fear. We just have to consistently build on that and actually not compromise.
Kim, before you came in, I don't want you to lose your train of thought. Before you came in, I think both Keita and Mutai led us through a generational or intergenerational discussion. We had our own conclave in here. And some of the issues that came up is the language, like we need to get to away with these old people. So how then you as a leader who is younger going to fight for my rights who is older, and I'm a person of integrity and I'm embraced by the constitution to also run for office. So don't I qualify? Are you not discriminating and using the same constitution that you're trying to uphold? What do you make of that argument, Kim?
Justice, I lost you for the last bit, kindly.
The last bit is that I find your language of we don't need to go to these old people for leadership. I find it discriminatory and against the constitution, and of course not accommodating everybody that you are trying to fight for. Why should ageism be a factor in terms of your leadership?
Yeah, truly, I get where you're coming from, and actually it is that old people that is bringing an issue here. If it was in text, I would have put it in double quotes. But now that it's in speech, I believe being a young person does not necessarily mean that I'm a good, I'm qualified or I'm a good leader in that sense also. Age does not also disqualify Maraga from being the best leader that we're looking for. But we've come to say that we, as we keep appreciating generations, there are those weaknesses that you'll always find, and they kind of keep repeating themselves. It is something we need to appreciate and actually speak about it. It's not that we're doing away with our parents. The Maragas of this world are our parents. We disagree with them based on their generational thinking, the way they were taught to look at things. At times they think we, the young people, are too fast, too impatient, but it's us. You see, those are the kind of small things I'm saying. We can actually go all the way and actually get the Maraga in our generation that fits our way of thinking that can actually take us forward. I have nothing against Maraga at this moment.
In Mujadala's initial presentation, he did indicate that the issue of young people being fast, impatient, thinking they know everything, it is not something new. In fact, in his statement, he did make it clear that even as we thought that way, until we grew up and realized that we were actually not right. So could it be that probably it's important to recognize that when you are that young age, it's typical. That's how people think. And maybe those who have been there, done that, it should be listened a little bit. That's my last question to you. I'll give it back to Peter.
Okay. I'll just use like a minute or so to put that into some sort of an example. In governance, you'll find there are decisions that will be made, either national matters or whatever matters, but they'll have to be made by whoever will be holding that mantle. But you've seen the process of decision making. There are things you can rush, there are things you can trash. But as things stand in this country, you've seen the bureaucracy in things that don't require bureaucratic processes. Those are the kind of things I'm actually saying. We can actually speed up things that can be sped up. We can actually take our time in things that require time. We can actually respond with actions with things that don't require talking, just actions. And we can always talk where it demands that people sit down and hold conversations. That is all I'm talking. I'll actually go forward and touch on this thing of resources, which is the question of the day here.
1 more minute.
kindly, yeah. About where without resources. I tend to agree that we'll need resources at some point to achieve our goal, which is actually to save our nation from all these bad leaders that we have. What I don't agree with is the values that keep coming up based on past elections, that this is the minimum amount a candidate can requires to actually run a successful campaign. I really don't believe we know these humongous figures, those billions they keep quoting here, but we'll need a lot of resources, but it might not be those humongous figures. Also, it's at that juncture that I pose this question. Now that at some point we realize we cannot outmuscle the state in terms of resources, does taking the pinch out of what money does during campaigns, doesn't that become actually what I would call like a more useful way, so that now we can be on the same page? Because we'll have to change two things here. We'll have to change the way we campaign and the how. The how means we cannot play the game. We cannot win by playing the game. We somehow have to change the game. And and the other part becomes the how we message, the how we talk actually. We cannot beat them by speaking the way they speak, by promising the way they promise. We outrightly have to change that conversation to something they are very uncomfortable with, and that will be more or less what I would call what was that word I used? Anyway, justice. That
you.
got away from me.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Thank you, Kim, for engaging us on that subject. Very, very, very good points there. I'll give it to Keita, and thank you for those that have just joined us. We have been here probably longer than we should. It's at least 3 hours. Of late we have been trying to carry to 3.5 marks, and then of course we are trying to scale it down to eventually achieve our 2.5 mark in the coming weeks. And please bear with us because we still have new speakers. So joined by my co-host, the only guy who calls me Uncle Justice, Karibu Keita.
I didn't want George. George, you had something to say before we bring in the new speakers. Go ahead, George.
Yes. I wanted to ask Justice a question because, for the love of God, I cannot understand. I cannot put my mind around it. There's a lot of popularity around Maraga, Matiang'i, Omatata, and the rest, the gang. Can you tell me why these people can't work together for a common goal? Why are we splitting? Like, I can't understand. I just wanted your thoughts on that. Why can't they work together? That would solve everything, don't you think?
It is, and if I have to respond quick so that you can have other speakers, is that if I have to look at it from a political angle, is that they don't seem to be people that are compatible politically in terms of complementing each other. They're pursuing different goals. As much as I hear the young people talking about, let's have Maraga and Umtata deputize each other in which way, I look at it and I wonder politically that what is the other person bringing to the other? That's number one. But number two, it's also an aspect of, which is not going to sound very good for the young people, that there is a lack of political grounding. Political grounding is very important when it comes for you, and which you don't understand until you throw yourself out there when it comes to campaigning. I did campaign to almost every house when I did the 2022 running, gave all by money that I could think of, went to the churches. I would go to like 5 churches. If Ruto tells you can go to 10 churches, a Sunday, we did all that. And then I conducted opinion polls we were leading. When we came down and realized that we ended up actually number 3, I almost left that place and I didn't even want to see the voters because they were waiting to celebrate. That's how heartbroken you become. So the point I'm telling you is that there is a lot of, in my assessment, political growing that needs to be done by these teams. to understand that winning is not about the popularity of what people are telling you. That is very important to note. But lastly, I would think that each one of them is being pushed into this, as Maraga has admitted publicly, without them having that drive that I wanted to lead my country and serve my country. But now, according to his statement in the recent interviews, that there are people who came to him. Of course, he has refined that answer with the time after realizing that was a wrong answer. And people just came to him and dragged him out of his place to come and lead us. And that usually, it can be a very exhausting approach. But if you have a self-drive, whether you lose 10 times, like, let's use the word Raila, you would still go for it. So what I'm telling you is that we are dealing with a very delicate situation that both those of us who are the young people pushing them and those who are being pushed have to handle very carefully, in the sense that, yes, I know you want me to come and lead you, but I don't have it in me. I have the character of what you're looking for, but as maybe Kim was saying, can that be found in someone else who actually is interested in leading the nation? And I think that's how I'll leave it at that for now. George?
Thanks. I think that would be a great first step for the movement, is to say, if you want our support, if you want our votes, then you guys have to work together. Something like that, a condition. I don't know.
Over to you, Keita.
Thank you. I see new speakers on the panel. I think Bosire, Japunj, and Kasim. I'm just gonna chime in one or two things before we go. We get back to you guys. My question, the reason why I asked where should the Gen Z start gravitating towards to, is because we keep getting blamed for, like, we don't have focus. We don't have somewhere where we're child. We don't have a leader, and that's the problem. Even if we go to Maraga, when Omkio Mtata was pitching out his campaign, they told him mind atafute pesa. So it tells you, like, the financial backing that these people have is major, but we have the numbers, So, and funny enough, of all the speakers that I've spoken, I've not even had anyone championing him for a new leader, because Maraga, for Christ's sake, the guy is old. And I'm not saying he cannot lead, but two-term, tupatie mjama, like, new leadership. Where is the essence of new leadership? So we keep giving the same people power over and over again. And this is why Gen Zs have a problem. The monotony has to break. The same people, these millennials, the Gen X and those ones who are there, boomer, you guys have been in power for such a long time and no change has happened. Now when we protest, we have so much temper. Please bring us back to the focus. When I asked you the question, where should we start gearing our focus towards, I didn't really get a direct answer. And it's not a direct answer that I'm looking for. It's something that at least you can say, okay, this one we can work with. Because right now, 2 years too, we will be voting. We'll be standing on those polls, even less than 2 years now. So I didn't really get it, unless someone can refine it. Mjadala, I see your hand is up. We'll do Mjadala, and then if anyone else, Japunj.
Yeah, I'll be very brief to your question ama concern kwamba unasikia ni kama haujajibiwa. That's because there's no definitive silver bullet, and it's unfair to expect. You were not here when I submitted the very initial time when Mutai gave me the opportunity. It's unfair to expect an overnight change, ama to expect the ocean while we have 3 drops of buckets. You know what I'm saying? 3 buckets of water. You get what I'm saying? So we have to count our wins right now, that the country is more than ever politically conscious today, more than they've ever been before. And that's a win, right? We have to know and to be very, 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 very happy with the fact that even the political language during this election cycle, whether it is by jokes or by really serious transformation, will have to change. When people come to the podium and they start speaking, ndaletea mama yako punda 3, hata huwa watoto wote wako hapa nitawapatia laptop, watu wataambia hiyo ni jaba right there and then, and they'll walk away. You get what I'm saying? And we've already seen this happening right now. At funerals, at church functions, people are walking away from politicians who are lying blatantly. That is thanks to what? The movement. So there's a change that has happened. Another win, Keita, that I want to mention to you, there's very many young people who have actually taken their time to structure their campaigns and create pitches. Some of them have joined traditional parties, some of them are still independent. And these are wins, whether they're in the traditional parties or they're not. Whether you agree with them joining the traditional parties like ODM or not, or being independent, that is a win. That is coming from the collective consciousness that is happening right now. So you ask, what are we doing? We don't have to all agree as we're about 30 billion. Let's say million. Let's just say the young people are about a rough estimate of 20 million. Let's just use 20 for now. The 20 million will not agree to go left, all of us. No. But we have to be okay that kutakuwa na miondoko fulani kunakuwa na groups fulani ambazo zitatokea pale na zitafanya tu vitu ambavyo ni sawa na zinapigana kuelekea kutengeneza Kenya kuwa nchi nzuri. Now that's our call. So right now, let me give you some example. The point is in a think tank that's helping the young people think about the way forward. Anthony is leading a movement to remove people from jail. These are wins, Bana. These are wins. We're here in this space. We've talked for almost 2 hours since I joined. Again, we are having very deliberate, very good discussions that if people take to really think about it, Maraga kwa sababu amepitisha 60 hizi kwenye uongozi, that's defeatist thinking. If someone is good, they're good. Let's not look for reasons to again knock them down instead of pushing them forward. Asante sana, Keita.
Okay, thank you. I don't know, I see new speakers. Japunj, and then we'll go to Kasim.
Thank you, Justice. Thank you, Keita. Keita, for the first time, I see you are serious in life. See, this is the progress we are talking about. I'm used to seeing you in other spaces, but anyway, thank you, Mutai. George, you know what I'm talking about. Anthony, Abinidium, Jadala, thanks for that submission. The first thing that we have to acknowledge is that the Gen Z, or if you like, youth or Gen Z, or whichever term you use, is a factor, they are a force to reckon with. If you are any politician in Kenya today, and you ignore the aspect of Gen Z, then I think you are in dreamland. The same way a politician will also tell you, I mean, the normal politicians who've been here, they'll tell you that if you ignore tribalism, then you are in dreamland. So we counter that by telling them, okay, let's see what happens, because according to my hypothesis, is that 60% of the youth will form bulk of the voter registry going forward. It's just a matter of time. We will just come back to these spaces and you will see. The next course of action, imagine 60%. This is history, and people who are doing selective historical, simple history analysis, they are not telling you this. They also have to tell you that for the first time in history, we expect Gen Z registration to be at 60% of the total votes. And we are looking forward to that day that our parents will ask us, you guys have been dying on the street, Ruto has been, so who do I vote? See, when we reach that level whereby our parents engage us and ask us, not the other way around, on whom to vote for, then we will have almost be there. We will have reached that point. But for now, how do we get there? This is a big question. As Mjadala said, and most of you have been here, we've been trying so much, to bring in all the Gen Z factors, Yeah, Gen Z are leaderless, we know that. But there are people that we identify as leaders. Even you now, in this space, when you hear the word Gen Z leadership, somebody comes to your mind. Yes, those people, I don't want to name names, those people. We've been with them in several think tanks. I think Kinagian, a lot of SG, KOT Sonko and all of them, we've been together. And I can tell you here, from the point of information, without fear of anything contradiction, that it's not as easy as it looks. It's not easy to bring all the Gen Z together with the same mindset. Yes, they have a common goal. They can go to the street and do that. But now The problem is when they have to come together for a common goal, mobilize resources, speak in one, have some structure without leadership. Because I'm of the opinion that Gen Z that should come together should not have conflict of interest. Like if you want to vie for member of parliament, MCA, you should not be in the think tank group for structure. That is where we are always differing, because your aim will always be to go to the, use that as a platform and take advantage of that and, mobilize resources for your own good, so something has come up here, which is also there in our old politicians, that everybody wants that fame in quotes. That's why some of us, we don't care about positions. We just want to help and make sure that at least they come together. There's mobilization of resources such that if something happens, like what Anton is doing is very good, working with those people who have been accused of terrorism. So we can channel all our energy, resources, everything at one point, bring them together as one, so we can have a good audit and report, like if you just go in there and ask someone, how many Gen Z are in prison today? What are their charges? What is pending? So we can have that good structure, because the way things are going, there's no time. And the more we waste time, the more the other people, they are less but more organized. We are the majority but disorganized. And I agree 100% with Anthony. Anthony, you have a very good mindset. When I look at these people here in this space, I see leaders. I see leaders. Although we don't want them to identify as leaders, but at some point, there has to be people who help to make that structure. Everybody is scared to identify as Gen Z leader because of what has happened before. Look at Morara. Morara actually was self-imposed leader. Who picked him? Who chose him? Who told him to make the political party? You see, that is the problem that we have. Rigathi has also declared his I don't know, Gen Z leadership. Because everybody wants a pie of Gen Z. So the things are just starting. And as I said, as I learned, we will not give up. Join us. Justice, you know what I'm talking about. Let's come together. Let's push for that structure. Whatever you have in mind, let's make that structure such that people who are building that structure do not hold positions. They create for others. That is what happens. You don't create positions and then you fit in like our politicians do. We are running away from that. Like Anthony, George, you can come in. I see also George, the other George, you change your name, Mjadala. You can come in, provide your opinion, not expert. I'm not talking about expert opinion. Bring in your input. Let's see which way forward. How would the structure look, such that when we try to bring people in, and then we say, look, these are not leaders. These are part of the structure or committee. We can call them committee, And then we start from there. We have to start from somewhere. And then now we can invite people on the table that we have built. You cannot invite people on the table and then you sit on the floor. There's no table. That is what I've been talking about for many, many months. We need to, once the table, hata kama near wood, it's for wood or metal, the table is there. Now we can tell Maraga and Okiya Mtata, guys, come listen to us. That committee that we have picked, that they are meeting there probably for the first time. You bring in and then we say, look, we know this guy, he's been consistent, this is his history. We've done background check. He's very good, he can help in this sector. Come in the committee. This. We summon them. We tell them, look, this is now serious. We cannot wait for you to decide. We have decided. Come on the table, do this and this, meet, and walk your way out. Bring whoever those people are, and then we move forward. That is where we are now. I know it's very tough, trust me. We're holding those meetings on Zoom and everything, but we will not give up. Anthony, I know you are a very good guy. You have very good opinions here. I've listened to you. I'm Jadal, and a lot of people. But now you people are drawing the line when the actual work is being asked of you. Reach out, let's see what we can do. No one is going to save you. Avoid that savior mentality. Let's all try to do, at least we will say, we did this, we are doing this, we are trying this, and that's the way to go. Thank you so much, Keita and Justice.
Thank you so much, Japuonj. I see George joined us, but let's go to Bosire, Mind Over, and then we'll land at George. Bosire, go ahead. Bosire, if you're not ready, we'll go to Mind Over Matter. Mind Over Matter, any contribution?
Thank you very much. A lot has, I mean, the good thing about these spaces is that, it makes us, you take in what other people, you learn by listening. And that is what I've learned most. I try listen most because try speak last so that, everything has been said because, where we are as a nation, and it's let me not speak about that. Let me speak about, how we can look, move forward, even economically, politically we talk.
Just a moment. Are you a Gen Z?
No, I'm a millennial.
I'm a millennial. That's a
Yeah,
question.
born 91.
Okay, and that's the question. Where do you think because they're saying we are not focused towards pioneering one leader. Right now in the movement, where do you think we should be putting our focus in terms of leadership?
I think on that, we what we can agree is that people want change, and people want progressive leadership. There is the rule of law, respect for rule of law. Whoever is at the top there, whoever it is, if they agree on the key points where they are going to respect the rule of law and constitutionalism, the political, I think the political war at this point, it is on it is on our side because we have been talking about abductions and murder and all. The government has been perpetuating that on the people. But for me, at this point at this point in time, the highest risk to our security is still the same government. Nothing has changed. Going after activists. So that is where we are. But from what our demands have been, we can agree what our demands have been. From whether a religious point of view, we have seen our church. The division has been sowed among. We are talking about tribal divisions. We're talking about church and what role it has played. What we have seen priests being murdered. So at the end of the day, when we sit back, we watch judiciary. We see the judiciary and their securities with the drone for senior government officials. Going after members of parliament, going after. So at this point, whoever is at the top, if that person agrees that we all agree that what our demands are these, so that we can have an end to the and it does not need to start when we vote for someone. Why we can declare
Mind
them.
over matter. Let me try to understand where you're going with this, because I'm missing the action plan. I'm missing a concrete thing that the Gen Z or the young people can do to build a resource power that is going to make a difference in the next elections. Example is what I've been given, that focus on building maybe the financial muscle, build some kind of a movement in terms of like something concrete, something what can, of course, we are demanding, we know the demand, we want good rule of law and constitutionalism, we want somebody who has not been tainted, we get that. So as the youth power in Kenyan politics, we're asking the resource that they can build right now. Even if we don't focus on particular individual, what can we do to build that power?
That has to be intentional. people have to know that they have to sacrifice. The financial aspect of it, if you are to look at it now from the financial aspect of it, whether it is contributions, we have seen it being mobilized. So we know it can be mobilized beyond, even on public platforms. People can do that individually. Groups of 10, groups, but it has to be within the people. This cannot be done for the people. They have to do it. You see, and the few that can do it, and that is, in terms of demographics, where we have people leaving school cannot find jobs. It is a reality. They might not have that financial power. So what is the role of those within a certain demographic that has benefited over the last 20 years?
Let me be like Keita, but a little bit in between Keita and Mjadla and George, and ask you a question. You are making this, and you can execute this in a minute or two, okay? So that because we can give other people a chance. You're here making a presentation to these youth that are listening to you right now, probably, I don't know, 75 people. And I want you to call us to action so that I'm going to walk home today that here is the call to action and this is what I'm going to do. Tell me. I said I'm in between Kate and George because Kate wants to give him the congrats, and then Mjadla was like, it's not that straightforward. So tell me, what is the call to action?
You talked about there being 70 people in this group, right? Give or take.
Proceed.
So if each and every one of these 10 people or 70 people had a group of 50 who have, or whatever number, based on their own initiative to bring people together, we will have a population of 7,000, almost, if the 70 had each, 10, we are talking about 700 people that agree on one thing at this specific point. So we can say, and you can go do your do you have 10 people as a minimum? Then you can move from 10. How do you get to 20? Then how do you get to 30 and 40 and 50? If we knew that each person was going to do that here, within 3, 4, 5 months, we will have a very huge number. That's why I say sitting in numbers. But how we amplify those numbers, we need a common goal and a common, that is what we need.
Thank you.
And we can decide. Yes.
Mhm.
That's my submission at this point.
No, very good. Thank you very much. And again, good engagement and good participation. I'll give back to Keita too, and Mutai is here too, so then you can lead us to the next few people as we plan probably to be closing not long from now. But again, I'll let the cause continue because they are better. What do you call it? Moderate. I wonder Swahili word. Mjadla, you should be teaching me at least one Swahili. What's a moderator is in Swahili? Mjadla. To moderate? No.
MC.
Go ahead, Kaden Mutai. Mutai, karibu back.
Okay, thank you very much. I will let Keita lead me.
Sure.
Because now I've been on the listener mode.
Okay, let's go on with Gerald, and then we'll circle back in, and then we'll finish up on a couple pointers. So back, Gerald, I see you. Gerald, go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity also to echo what most of you have just said. There is one question that I think one of us, mind of us, been asked. What should we do? What is the way forward? Basically, from what Jabunj said, when you look family demographics in our country, you realize that in every family or household, we have young people in that household. And those young people in each and every household, if we stand together and basically persuade even those who are a bit older than us, with that one common agenda of having good leadership. It has to start now. We are the resources. Basically, we don't need to raise money for Maraga for him to become the president. What we need is to use we are the resources, to use our own knowledge to persuade people, to talk as a family of young people, come together and agree, nope, this is the way to go. When you go out, you spread that kind of good news. I think there is something we have to, something so simple we have like to take into account. Imagine, I think from a Christian perspective, Jesus never had so many followers. He only chose 12. And from these 12 disciples he had, we have a very huge following. A very huge following. How did we come with all this huge following? He just instructed them, go out and spread the good news. So it is high time for us as young people, we go out, spread that good news of saying, nope, we don't want a voter bribery. What we need is that if we stand for one which is good governance, good leadership, then whom are we going to censor to be the one who is the flag bearer of this, we as the young people who need good leadership? If we have censored someone and we feel this person is worth like running for that post, then is we as the resource, because if today we raise the cash for someone like Maraga to go out to start campaigning, basically is going to meet people. The same people is going to meet is us. And if it is we, and basically we have settled that this is the way to go, why can't we spread that news among ourselves, among our kin, and try to tell them this is the right way to go, or this is where, if we want the country to be in the right trajectory, then we have to fall into this kind of direction. If it comes to voting, because many people, basically, I'm interested into politics, and I'm also vying from my home area. The same challenge I'm getting as a young person is that even when you go to a if the young people escort you to a church or to a social gathering somewhere, when you are getting out of that social gathering, unasikia wanasema in our Kisi language, tosere. Tosere is that give us something small. And when you try to engage them that this is the kind of negativity you want to move from and be focused to good leadership, so that I will not, once I'm there, I will never steal their money, so that I take them back to the cash back to them, they don't really get to understand that. What they need at that moment, because you are a leader, you want to be in the office of leadership, they expect that you have money and you have to give them that money. So it is so challenging, but the best thing I think we have to do as young people is to have that common goal, and to think from a certain perspective where we have to say that, nope, if we are supporting someone into a post of leadership, then it is not about money. What we need, it is to see if somebody is capable. And basically, the simple question, basically, mostly people have to ask, like, yes, you want to be a leader. Why do you want to be a leader? You want to serve. I want to serve. Why? How are you going to offer your service? Will your service be attached towards something, or the service you are going to give, it is a selfless service you are going to give to the people by championing basically what they have sent you to do for them? So it is very tricky, but and mostly what I always say, if we are not very careful, these wasays and whatever, they are going to override again on us, because you realize that when someone goes, a young person comes and says, no, I'm standing for this, and basically I'm going for this post. And the reason why I'm going for this post is because I want to do ABCD. And the ABCD is explaining for us to do for us. Basically, does it reflect what the young people want? You see, but it reaches a point again, you realize that the same people that you are talking with, who are young people like you, they're the one criticizing you that aka kajamaa sunaona hata anakuanga na kagari kadogo, huyu jamaa anataka tumweke huko aende kutafuta do na cheki. But when ikifikia hapo unapata sasa again tunaanza kuwa na ile negative energy towards our own self. But if we can, hata tukitoka watu 10 from the same constituency and we are young people, basically we can sit down. Venye Chaponja amesema, we are supposed to have a group of certain individuals, even if they are not basically into leadership, but people who can do censorship for these young people. Now, waambie nyewe from the kind of stuff we have done, without falling for whoever, we see that this guy can be the flag bearer for the young people from this constituency. If we can reach to where we can have a consensus on this, then I think we will go far. You know, as much as we are saying, oh, whom are we going to choose up there? If down here, we are not also choosing guys who are going to help this person to govern in the right way, then I think we are going to miss the whole thing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gerald. And again, as the course continue, I want to encourage all of you to really encourage people to join, but also be part of our conversation. If you have never followed our spaces, Justice for All, just feel free to follow us. We're here, great speakers been doing every day. We are going to carry down to our main days to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then, of course, there will be maybe other subtopics in between, but Tuesdays and Thursdays will remain to be our main days so that we can co-host and build. And I'm glad today my two Gen Zs are doing a phenomenal job. I can vote for them any minute, any day. And I'm so glad that great speakers are here. Thank you so much. Over to you guys.
I see Mind Over Matter. We have a couple hands up, Mind Over Matter, and then we'll go to Gravity Mziki, and then back again. So Mind Over Matter.
Also, don't forget there's a George. George.
Oh,
George.
yeah.
Wait,
George.
Yeah. Okay,
oh, yeah, George. It's supposed to be George Orina, eh? Let's start with George. Sorry. George, go ahead.
I think it's called George
Now, give me
447. Sorry.
30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds.
I know
30
how
seconds.
spoken.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I think we have given the political aspect of our society too much power. And part of the solution is taking out this power. So, I think we need an alternative, in my point of view, an alternative social structure where we can build at growing. Because if we can grow, organically down there or wherever you are, the demands will, people will have more people, pushing for better change, and people can push their own, way. Those that are in sports or whatever sector. My 30 seconds. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Gravity Muziki. Gravity, are you there? I think Gravity has dropped. I see George down there. This George. The Lord Gen Z, I've invited you to speak. If you can.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, that's you, George, eh?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. And of course, before I start, let me just presume that I'm like the youngest person over here. I'm just 19, and I've been waiting for almost an hour, but thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute, to this space. Okay, so let me first start by saying that Kenya we are like used to a system of, politics of tokenism, in that, people want to get something from their leaders in order to appreciate, and align with their thoughts. Now, for us as Gen Zs, for us to bring something greater to the table, we must be ready to sell our vision, in a way that person, when you go to ground, the person at the grassroots level can choose our vision over the token that will be given by the, let me call them the older generation. Because that will be their card even in 2027. So I do feel like as young people, we really need to be dynamic. And this war is going to start from the grassroots level. We shouldn't like focus so much on who is going to be our presidential candidate and forget that we are in a system whereby it's going to start from the grassroots level, from the MCA to the MP to the governor, you know. So we must like be thinking of all this and not just concentrating all our energy on who should be the presidential candidate, you know, and forget where it all starts from. That is the person at the ground. So I do feel like we must be very visionary at this point because we are focused too much on, you know, condemning the current regime, forgetting that we have a part to play. We have to be ready for the war that is coming before us. So I do feel like we must be ready to sell our agenda from the grassroots level for us to overcome the usual politics of tokenism. Okay, that's all that I had for you. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, you're 19. Aluta continua. I'm happy to see there's one Gen Z, still a Gen Z. Gravity Muziki, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah,
Can
we
you
can
hear
hear
me?
you now.
Mutai siongea haraka. Unafungua mic alafu unazima jana nioza.
No. Before Gravity Muziki, I just wanted to really compliment George. It is insightful and inspiring that you are 19 and you're already taking up these spaces. Congratulations, Mazi. I like it.
Gravity, go ahead. Gravity, I don't think we can hear you. You might need to drop and come back again. Okay. I see new speakers on the panel. Richta, how are you, my brother? Been a while, eh?
Yeah.
What's your any 2 cents on the topic? And then we move further.
Thank you for the opportunity. God, it's been a long day, but anyway, I saw the space was on, and the topic really attracted me. So like, I just had to come and pitch a few of my thoughts and see if they'll make a difference. I think if there's one thing that the current leadership has managed to do is they have managed to like provoke the silent majority, because as you all know, Gen Zs, let's just say the youth population in Kenya, we are the majority, and the level of incompetence, the level of bad governance is what has us all here. Like, we are here, we are advocating for change. Basically, everywhere you go, there is youth activism. Every youth wants to take up. Every youth wants to have their voice out there. Every youth wants to take up leadership positions. But in as much as the youth are attracted to leadership positions and to make a change, to make a difference, there is that question of resources, because as you know, in Kenya, politics, it majorly relies on money. If you don't have money, then it is so hard for you to navigate. It's so hard for you to get your name out there and like have the people listen to you, sell your ideas and all that stuff. But I'd say that is to some certain extent. I wouldn't say that the resources are the underlying principle of Kenyan politics. I'm tempted to give an example of there's this youth MP during the time of Uhuru from Central Kenya. I remember the guy. He started campaigning a bit early. He started selling out his manifesto to the people a bit early, like 2 years beforehand. I remember back then alikuwa anaitwa nani sijui MP wa Sweta whatever. He just used to campaign with a sweater and a bicycle. It didn't take much for him to like navigate through his constituency and all that stuff. So to me, when like I use that as an inspiration story to like the youth to like show them that resources are not like the underlying issues. Resources are not the underlying principle for you to get into leadership. You can just, if you indeed are calling, then you'll find a way to navigate the challenges of sourcing for resources and having to convince people vote for you. I can give another example of Peter Salasio. Peter Salasio campaigned in 2017. He had nothing. He only had a vision. But in 2017, I think it was just more like a free trial to like just test the waters and like see how things are. And then in 2022, he finally came around with very little to no financial assistance. So when I look at some of the youths being complicit and them saying that we need resources for us to be like get in the ground and campaign for whatever, campaign for maybe MCA, maybe MP. Like I think that in itself is it's a bit I don't know pretentious, I'd say, or rather complicit. If it's indeed a calling, just find a way and get yourself in there. And I think when the youth, when they call for resources, I think it's so hard for you as a youth to convince the electorate on your credentials as a person, and what you're willing to offer them as a leader. Because I think the major issue with youth leadership is the inexperience, and that to convince people of your true character. Because we have seen time without number, people going in there in parliament and being, I don't know, it's like once you cross that door of parliament, it's like a new you is born. So having to navigate all that and convince people that when you go in there, you will not change, you will advocate for them. It's kind of tricky, but I'd say more youths need to come up, the ones that feel like they're going to be leaders. Because what we have in Kenya right now is everyone wants to eat. Like when you look at the type of leaders that are more connected with the people, like there are very few, very few people want to work, and so many people want to get in there, earn those hefty salaries, get kickbacks from the president to pass specific legislation. So it's so hard because the society we're living in right now, we are in a society where mistrust is the underlying theme. Like I don't trust you. How can I be trusted? How can I be assured that if I trust you with my vote, you will not go there and get lost in the politics of parliament rather than to focus on the leadership? And majorly, I don't think this is a problem in Kenya specifically. I think the whole of Africa. God, it's all about people eating. It's not even about leadership. It's politics,
Thank
not
you, Rich.
leadership. Anyway, I'm done,
Mhm.
and thank you for according me this opportunity.
No, thank you for contributing. My co-host, I think I would just allow Janice to contribute, and then everybody else who has spoken will get a chance to make their final remarks. And of course, you, the co-host, will be last in making your final and closing remarks, start organizing those thoughts. But Janice hadn't spoken, so we'll speak, and then we go to Gravity. We just move around the room to give our closing remarks. Appreciating everybody that has created time, very good time to be here with us to contribute your thoughts, your ideas, your wisdom, but also giving direction on the way that we need to move forward to really harness this kind of energy and resources to move us forward as a people. But the young people have shown great leadership, and I do appreciate. Janice. Janice, can you hear? Wow. Okay. Janice, if Janice can't hear me, then I think I'll move forward with. Okay. Please.
No,
Please
I can hear you, bro.
open your mic and proceed. We have very few minutes remaining, so I'll just want people prepare their closing remarks. But go ahead. You hadn't submitted, so please go ahead and submit.
Yeah, unanisikia vizuri sasa lakini.
Yes, I can.
Thanks. So I'll try to make it as brief as I can. So about topic where the direction should be without the resources. Well, we can't necessarily say we don't have the resources. It's just relative to what they have access to, those who are in the political space. And then it's also based on a bit of convenience, because ukiangalia watu, that's how they have managed to be there for, since you can remember. Unapata the recurring faces, because every time ikihitaji huyu afanye kazi na huyu, they will do anything as long as they don't surrender of the power to an unknown party mwenye ataanza kuleta vitu zenye new things to the table. Kwa sababu kama mimi nilideal na huyu at a certain time, najua I know the strategy, so I'd rather have them close to me and then we can work things out later. But as the youth, the direction we should be taking, we just have to realize that more work has to be done. Yeah, the shortage of resources does not mean that you cannot do it. It just means that you have to put in a bit more effort. And George ameisema vizuri, because the previous has also said it, because this e-tokenism is the biggest chip and there is the card going to play. Okay, so it will just take you a lot more work kukuja convince mtu that you have to consider changing unafikiria when it comes to voting someone in, because you're actually surrendering the power to them. Yeah, and once you have given it to them, they will not need you again for the next 5 years, and then Mokamusha, they will come and tell you some sweet nothings. So we just have to realize that more work has to be done, first of all. I will also say to those who are aspiring to take up positions, whichever position you want to take, you just have to start now, start as early as you can, because they work on advantage. They have an advantage. The access to share some of the whole resources stuff. So you just have to start mobilizing for whatever you are saying. Ujue those who are like-minded kama wewe, because it's actually surprising that you will come to space like this and you will meet youths who are very eager and they anticipate change. But then ukiwa kwa ground and you have a political discussion with the youths wenye mko na wao, very few are willing to stand up for what they believe in. So you have to push it. Kama wewe you want to stand for something, maybe opposition, and you have to start now. Lazima mobilize watu, because at the end of the day, seriously, you need the numbers so you can get the votes. And then we also have to realize that we have to strategize. As a group, alliances have to be formed to strategize a whole on someone's part, but as a group, lazima lazima kutakuwa na coalition somehow, because politics it's not a lonely game. sorry, sio mahali unaenda you are isolated, because they will just pick you out and they'll just pick you and throw you out. Lazima you will have to have alliances happen na pale, and people have to realize that as early as now. And that hope is not a winning strategy. You don't just I'm hoping that things will go good for me. Lazima you strategize, because personally and generally, I think when it comes to all of these politics and whatever you are seeing currently in the country right now, nothing happens by chance. Yeah, once you get to those high positions, hakuna kitu yenye ina happening by chance. Everything is made, it's a strategic decision. Yeah, yes, our mistakes are more zingine, they will bring you down, but nothing just happened. Yeah, we see people reaching out with the money, giving away gifts. Nothing just happens. It's not like it's your friend, you are saying, let me give them a watch or something. No, it's some people have sat and tell you, do this because it's the right thing to test the atmosphere, or for whatever reason they might think or believe in, but nothing just happens by chance. So at a way, you don't just sit and wait for something to happen to you and then I will take over from somewhere. No, you have to think and have an elaborate step-by-step, plan, how you're going to achieve things. Also, as I said earlier, you have to align yourself with like-minded people. Yeah, ndio to avoid the coalition mingi sijui mara the statements coming from this side sijui nini. Lazima you realize, okay, huyu tunapelekana, so now we can start strategizing with them. And thanks. That was my submission. Thanks for your time.
Very good submission. Yeah, thank you very much, Janice, and thank you for being part of us. We welcome you to join us whenever we are on air talking about matters of good governance, leadership, and integrity. Gravity?
Yes, you can hear me?
Yes, please proceed. Maximum of 2 minutes as we close.
Yes. I think our number one resource is that I tend to believe that we are genuine people. We are very our thoughts for this country is based on genuinity, and I don't think the monetary aspect is so big. Everyone across the generations believes that what we want for this country is genuine. We want this country to have progressive leaders, and we want this country itself to be progressive. So I think our number one resource is that we are genuine. Number two, our litmus test will be that we have 23 vacant seats from the Senate to the MCA. And if we capitalize on that, I think we shall have a sense of direction from there. And I hope our dream will not die, even if you are going to get to 2027. I think if we clinch the 23 seats, we shall have direction from there. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you very much. I think the next one we can go to Mind Over Matter. 2 minutes, Max.
Thank you. We must not stop. We must keep pushing. There's no turning back. That is what I tell myself every day, because we need the change now. Because in a few years, if there is no reversal at this point, the unemployment, housing as a concern, housing, all that, infrastructure, all that, with the changing climate, all that, strategic reserves, food, people have to know. And that's all I'll say. Thank you.
Much appreciated. Thanks, Mind Over Matter, and thank you for being part of our conversation. Closing remarks from Rudaman.
Yes, Justice, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Since I started listening to this space, the initial space I did, I was really bashed because I said something that did not go well with some speakers who were there, and they really crushed my ego. Until I started joining your space, at least I gained some confidence. And nowadays, I can really contribute. And I've seen it today. There are people you are tolerating people the way they speak. You are giving them, until you get somebody is getting the point that you have not gotten, thinking in a different perspective from where you were thinking. And this is a really good thing. And today, I want to thank you because you have brought a topic that is really different from what we have been discussing. Tumekuwa tukilalamika Ruto, sijui nini. Now we are shifting from there, and now we are in a planning path. Where are we going? And that is really good. And that is my submission. I really thank you.
Much appreciated, and thanks for the compliments. I've also learned from the best, the mujadalas of this world, so I can tell you, in this house, you get refined every week, and that's what we are learning. Rich, sir.
My closing remarks. I'd like to urge all the youth who are here, going forward even past 2027 and the coming elections, if you're going to settle on one candidate, then let us settle for someone who will foster youth inclusivity in the incoming government. Let us not contend with someone who will be interested in recycling the previous politicians. Let us choose someone who will include us, someone who will invite us to the high table so that we can help solve some of our underlying issues. That is all.
Very well. Thanks. You guys are doing very good, especially the discipline of keeping time in your final submissions. Now, I George, the young George, and thank you, George, for being so articulate, bold, and doing a very good job. Your closing remarks, please.
Okay, thank you once again. Okay, all I can now say, even as I, conclude it all, is that we have to rewrite the narrative, as young people. We must really move out of the norm and go and set our agenda out there, because that's the only thing that will help us, counter whatever the older generation have, that is the resources and all that. So we might not have all the resources, but with the right agenda and vision, we can convince the masses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A very good job, and I hope you will be creating time for us when you have a chance to really come and talk to us. And one of the things that we're going to build in here, learning from our elders here, is that with the time, after maybe a month or so, we will start talking like not about the older generation narrative and a younger generation narrative, but it's a narrative. What we're trying to do is bad narrative and bad governance, because there are young people with bad leadership and there are older people with extremely bad leadership. But at the end of the day, we are going to really make a very strong team of everybody. Before I give George Joma, unless you really have to go, because I want you guys to close. We have a new speaker that have come in. I'm gonna give you very brief moments because you came in when we were closing, and then I can let the Jomo, Jandala, and Anthony close, and then the co-host will close. So if you allow me, because you have already been given a mic, I think I will allow Osama and UFP, and then we go to Jomo, then Anthony Mjadala, and then we can close with our co-host. Please, let's go in that order, Osama.
All right, thank you so much, my host. Again, I just want to say something small. When we are going to this election, as we carry the IDs in 2027, as you carry your ID, also don't forget your brain at home. Make sure that you carry your brain. It is the most important tool for now. And for the Gen Zs who are going to vie, my fellows, let us not just participate, but let's crush the ego of these old men who have been occupying these positions for more than 15 years and they're not helping us in changing the system. Yeah, thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Sam. You're so
I
funny.
like how he said it. These old men, because we are tired. God damn it.
I can see it. You guys are completely tired. But I like, don't leave your brain behind. Joma, do you want to go? You want me to get UFP and then you can go Joma after UFP? Because after that, we'll be done with the brothers, except for your in-house people. UFP? UFP Patty?
Justice,
Yes, yeah, go ahead. Correct.
Justice, how are you? I
Doing
think
good.
everybody has a good evening. Let me start by saying well done to I think you have started now reading the reality. When the real issues start striking off, that is when people start now rearranging and thinking differently. As we were here last and some few days here, there's something I asked people. Whenever we are doing something, we need to have a metric of events. Like, for example, I've heard you say the topic was about how without money, without resources. But I can assure you, with your brain only and with your attitude,
you can move a mountain without even money. Because there's one thing you can do. You can be a good planner, but a very poor effective maker. But also you can be a good effective maker, but very low in terms of action taking. So those two things conjoin one another. So I would like to say, because don't want to take a lot of time, I would like to tell each and every person here, it's not the quantity, it is not the much you have, it is what you have in your readers, in your leadership skills that give you the priority, that give you the opportunity, that give you the charisma to be accepted. That one is a fact. Then there is another thing. They also think a bad character sells a lot. It sells, not selling, it sells a lot. What do I mean by selling? It can attract because many people would like to know why. Like if I follow example of 2022 election, he also wanted to know why the Kaongo was being attacked, the Kaongo was giving us a narrative, all many. And because that was not being the topic, I would say it's upon us as a youth, as readers, as old, as young generation, as the millennial, to set as above all odds that this is what we are going, this is where we are. I think we have our own articulation that will make all. And I think that is my submission for today. Thank you and have a good evening.
Much appreciated, and thank you for creating time to be here. George Jomo, karibu sana, and you can get to Tony and Mjadala.
Thanks, Justice, and thanks for the time with Keita, Mutai, for taking your time to host us all every day. We appreciate what you're doing, man. It's tiring, but you're doing well. My injustice was simple. Like Matiangi and them guys, they're in your neighborhood right now. Can we get them into this space so that we stop thinking about them and speak to them? Is that a possibility? That's what I wanted to ask you.
That's a good question. I know some of the people that have been in our space here, like Dr. Dr. Oriko, I think, were the ones who, let me not put him on the spot. But anyway, there are people that have been planning their evening meetings and all that. I will check because I know they are really engaged in the evenings, but maybe not weekdays. So let me check with the two people that I know, and then of course I will get back to ask the team and see if we can get some of them. That's a good suggestion, and Josh will follow up on that. I promise that. That'll be a very good one, actually. Yeah, thank you. All right, let's go to Tony. Thank you for being here, Tony, and for presenting very powerfully and also, giving a plan into this movement. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice, and you're a very able team. I can't speak for everyone and tell people which direction they need to take, but I can tell you what I intend to do to change the course of this country. Because change starts at a personal level. It does not start as a collective. It starts at an individual person. And all these things we have spoken about resources, you attract what you believe in. If you speak of change and people see it in you, then those people donate their resources to you. And when we talk about resources, let's not get confused. It's not only monetary. People donate monetary as one of them. They donate their minds to you. They donate their assets to you. They donate their time to you. And that is how you build a constituency of believers. But on our part, we must give these people a roadmap to the Kenya that we want and the Kenya that we envision. And that roadmap needs to be captured in a document. And I had one of the guy who said he's only 19. I think his name was George. He talked about Paul Mirigwe, the gentleman from Meru. He talked about Peter Salasia. And he said what they went to the people with was a plan that if you elect me, I will do this. And they started handing out those pamphlets. They caught the attention of change makers. That is how change begins. It begins by you writing down what you intend to do and giving people a solution. And I'll finish by saying, we all know what is wrong with Ruto. We need to stop talking about him. We all now need to start talking to the people about what we intend to do that is different from what Ruto is doing. Because everyone knows what he's doing wrong. We need to tell them what we are going to do that is right and different from him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tony Morelli, fellow soldier in this battlefield. Karibu sana, and that is Mjadala.
Shukran. And I'm really happy that Joshua actually just got here just when I was about to give my final submission, because earlier on I had invoked Joshua's name as one of the people that are already doing what we're asking for the youth to do. Throughout the night, my theme has been, let's not be too harsh on the movement and on the achievements we've made, because we have made good achievements. The likes of Joshua have taken the responsibility or the mantle to be leaders and carve out their names on the history, in the history books, as people who are moving the discussion forward. So let's not be harsh on ourselves. Because I think that sometimes when we have these discussions, we're always having a very defeatist angle or perspective to everything that has happened to this point. So, number one, let's celebrate our wins. And I mentioned Joshua, I mentioned Evans, I mentioned Anthony, I mentioned even you, Justice. What you're doing is quite admirable. Number two, we all know that politics in Kenya is attached to resources, and so however which way you get that resource is a good thing. So the financial muscle is good. Don't take it for granted at all. So if you can get it from crowdsourcing, the likes of Joshua, if you have your agendas and you need some money, don't be afraid to ask, because we don't expect that you have billions of dollars unless you're George Ruto, who can build a matatu with 3 seats and that is the inside of it. So we know where the money is come from. But if you don't have the money, don't be afraid. Crowdsourcing is a legit way of finding or accruing legit sources of funding. Last but not least, let's continue the discussions. I do appreciate this space very, very much, because I don't associate with spaces where people are silenced. I don't associate with spaces where people are not having critical and discussions are challenged and moderated in the manner that Keita and Mutai and yourself, Justice, have done today. So, and I want to give Mutai some flowers, because I think Mutai has done a good job since I got here. Keita, the time that you've hosted as well, you've done a good job, and I commend you both very, very well. So thank you very much, Justice, for the opportunity, and I do appreciate your friendship and your space. And then I wanted to mention also that Ruda, please feel encouraged, because I know that, like I said earlier, Justice kept asking me, how is it that we can fix ourselves or level up before we level Kenya up? One of the ways to do that is to do exactly what you said. You said that the spaces have given you an opportunity, this space specifically has given you an opportunity to voice your concerns and have the courage to express yourself in a way that you feel heard and understood. Asante sana, nashukuru sana for that feedback. Justice Kwako.
Thank you very much, Mjadala, and for being such a resourceful person for all of us. My friend Keita, karibu sana.
No, ladies first. Mutai, go ahead first. Come on, man. You can't do that. Uncle. Ladies first.
All right.
Yeah, ladies first. Mutai, go first.
As much as I don't subscribe to chivalry, when Keita says ladies first, it's okay. I'm going to take that opportunity, because perhaps someday I'm going to vie against him for presidency, and he will end up saying ladies first.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you very much, Justice. Thank you for this space. Thank you, Keita, for helping me co-host. You're a great co-host. And before we wrap up, I want to sincerely thank all you guys, all you speakers and the listeners for the contribution that you have brought in. There are very many insightful perspectives. And I want to mention Anthony. I hold you in high regards. And I feel that you actually spoke about something that touched me personally. And I can tell that you're genuinely committed. I could hear the conviction in your voice, and I was telling myself, this is very compelling. I wish that perhaps somehow you will able to get people who are of like who are like-minded just like you. And I just want to say that in this space there are a lot of voices, there are a lot of people, and it will be okay if we maybe connect, network, collaborate, and in building that connection we can actually turn these ideas that we do have in here into actionable things. And I want to also encourage everyone in here that as much as we all have these dreams that we want to see before we exit Earth, I want us to commit into investing these dreams, empowering voices of different people, the youth, the old, all of them, and let us harness our energy for a better Kenya where no youth or older person is left behind. Let us channel these powers wisely. We don't just want to build a nation, we want to ignite a revolution of hope, of progress, and of unity that will resonate for generations to come. I know that we've always wished for a better Kenya, but we could be the people that makes Kenya for our better for our children and for their children. Thank you very much, Justice. That is all that I do have.
Now, Keita, karibu sana. Thank you.
All right, Justice. You always put me in these compromising positions, and I'm young Django, rambunctious in nature. I like to get rowdy. But we've had a very good conversations today. I want to recognize two people, two special ladies, and they're still here even right now. The first one is Wanjiro Achieng Chebet Wanjiro. Her handle name is at Wanjiro Njira. Thank you. I've been on her spaces and I really heard so much. I wasn't enlightened in politics, but being on their spaces, wow. And then another lady is Malia Davis. Yeah, Malia has also been a very good political champion. Our women we should also rally with us. It's not only the men that are fighting for this thing. I know there are so many ladies, but these are the only two that I've heard speaking mostly, and I hope to hear many more. And also, Mutai, I've not forgotten you. Okay. Yeah, Mutai is also there. Yeah. So, thank you so much, Justice, for the space. Until we meet again, and also George, George has some very interesting takes. George, I hope to see you next on the space. Anthony, Mjadala, Ruda, Osama, all of you guys, I see. I think you're the only guys that I know, really, pretty much. But and Richta, and that young man, George. I won't forget his name, George. George, I hope to see you on the next space. Aluta continua. Go ahead, Justice. Thank you for the space.
Much appreciated, and thank you for really being such an amazing co-host together with Mutai, who's been here from the time we opened this space. The rest of the speakers, the listeners, and those that have come in to support, share ideas, and even put up your comments. We find this to be a way of sacrificing to build a movement that is going to help us to grow. One of the things that I remember Mjadala asked me one time, I think we were probably on the phone call or maybe a text, was like, yes, we can build this to go even beyond just politics, because there is much more that can be done beyond just the elections and taking leadership, taking over leadership. And that is why we are coming together to recognize all your input, all your skills, all your potentials, and what you can benefit from those who have at least gone ahead and have been able to achieve one or two things. So in this space, you will find a place to voice your thoughts, your ideas, bounce them over to us. They will be challenged, that I promise. You'll be asked questions, but they will be done with a lot of grace and in a way so that we can all grow together. We were there. I remember I wanted to ask George, the young man that spoke, that where were you 25 years ago? or at least 26 years ago. And he realized he's only 19. So the reason as to why I wanted to ask him that is that I was at the very minimum 26 years. That was the George that spoke today. That was me 26 years ago. God is so good. So anyway, my point is that we've traveled that journey, but what has kept us is don't give up hope. Let somebody hold your hand, and don't allow so many things to distract you, because there's so many distractions, especially right now. So for you, I want you to realize that a knockdown is not a knockout. It's an opportunity to rise with greater momentum. And once you rise, keep moving. God bless you. Good night. See you next time.
So ungesema hivyo na Kiswahili, ungesema bye na
If
Kiswahili.
translate that, I want to hear
Kuna
that.
watu tu wanapenda show off.
Hapana.
Show off, show off, show off.
And you see, you almost put in my pastoral moment there. You make me love these people more. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you next time.
Justice,
Yeah.
Justice.
Yeah.
Jadala is dying to show his Swahili skills off. So let him, please let him.
I know I wanted him to, because he's very good with that. And we probably need to have something record where that's gonna be the intro and the outro thing, where we have to do it in Swahili. You know?
I know.
Justice nasema wapenzi wasikilizaji, meli imetia nanga. Kwa wale wote ambao mko hapa, tumefurahi sana kwa nanyi. Sisi kama wale ambao tumekuja hapa kila mara, tunashukuru sana kwa uwepo wenu, kwa sababu bila nyinyi wote basi hatuna mjadala hapa. Mungu awe nanyi wote, na wale ambao wanapenda kuleta msukosuko kwenye inbox, Mungu awanyeshe rehema zake, mbadilike, kesho muwe watu wafadhali kuliko leo. Lakini cha mno ni wale ambao wanataka kuwa viongozi kama Joshua, tunawaomba kwamba mrudi hapa siku nyingine tuweze kuwa na mkutano kambambe. Asanteni sana, Mola awe nanyi. Bye bye.
You're hired, bro.
Yeah, we were just chilling.
I will have to rehearse that. You're hired, right?
Spectacular.
That was good. Thanks, guys. I will end this place now.
Utauma mdomo
forward. So with that, I think I'll go back to the listening mode, hear more views from other people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And for those that are on the listener mode and you're struggling, I've been informed there's a lot of challenges hearing us. I'll try to refresh. If someone can write to us and let us know if it's any better now, because it looks like there is an issue. Mtai, do you have something? You probably had a question. Go ahead.
Yes, Justin. There's something interesting that Eddie mentioned, and I thought that perhaps you could say, tell me something about it. He said that the structures for democracy are not working. And yesterday, Raila Odinga said that at the national level, during the conclave, perhaps you could involve the civil societies. And what caught my ear is the fact that he mentioned the members of parliament being a part of it. Isn't it enough that the members of parliament already have a parliament to discuss the issues? Why do they need a conclave to come and, discuss with us the issues? Can you maybe comment on that?
That's a good point. It affects a comment on it or myself? I can bring in someone else.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you want me to comment on it, then the moment you start bringing in the members of parliament, then you are simply going against the same constitution that you said the sovereign power belongs to the people and can be exercised directly or indirectly delegated. So if you are going to bring in, you already delegated, and those people you delegated to have failed, and then you start coming into this situation where you are recommending a dialogue or a conclave where people are going to exercise it directly, then the people you delegated to and fail should not come in, because that's already been written off. So to agree with you 100% on this is that that's a contradiction by itself, based on that his interpretation of Chapter 1 of the Constitution. So my opinion is that once these people come together, if it ever gets there, and they agree to have this dialogue without going through the elected people, then they should not be allowed even at the national level to come in, because now we are going to have a new pathway on how we want to be governed. And then we are going to dictate this, how we're going to do this, how we're going to do our elections, we're going to stagger our elections. We have to decide. We have to come up with our own framework. And framework will even include by, having that transitional council that is going to help us move forward. So, that's a contradiction by itself, because then it doesn't capture the spirit of what people want to see happen. We are done with the parliament. We are done with whether it's the current government as it's constituted. So people want to exercise their power directly. I don't know if that responds to your question. Yeah. And then, okay. So I'm probably going to bring in Mheshimiwa Josephine, and then Wanda will come in after that as we proceed. And thank you very much for being here. If you can share the space, invite somebody. I want us to have this conversation. There's a lot to cover, and some of them include, some of these statements that are leaking. But I think Anthony left, and I really wanted to clarify to him that I've gone back and checked the Jeremiah Kioni statement. He did not deny that Uhuru called Raila. He did not deny that Uhuru called Raila. What he said is that it's not Uhuru who made Raila's party and or Raila to join the broad base. Those are two different issues, and I think it needs to be understood in that context. So I just wanted to get that information clear to Anthony so that there's no contradiction on the statement that we were addressing earlier. Mheshimiwa Josephine, karibu sana.
Thank you, Justice. Mutai, thank you for hosting, and all the panelists, thank you also for your speech. And all the listeners as well, we really appreciate you, because when you are in the space, when you are not in the space, we cannot speak, because we cannot speak to ourselves. But when we are all together, we speak, and it makes a difference. Yes, and the question is whether we have any question for Raila after having watched the interview. And for me, as you've known me, many times I've said this, and I'm repeating the same again. Personally, I don't have anything to ask Raila, because whatever Raila does, he does as per his decision, and that's his own personal decision. However, the Kenyans, we've decided never to decide to think, understand, and say this, despite he has said that this is his principles. We always want to carry him in our bags and in our shoulders. Even when he disappoints us, we still carry him. Fellow Kenyans, I think, personally, Raila, whatever he's saying and whatever he's discussing, and even the meetings that he's calling for, the truth is, he's only trying to prove that I am in control. Because of the ego, he cannot accept that he has lost. And actually, he has even lost his popularity. And for that reason, he cannot also accept that or acknowledge that he betrayed the Kenyans by joining the government. And for that reason, he has to keep on telling us, I am in control. Because what happens is that any person, the moment they rely on so much lies and they give a lot of lies, eventually, and when they are trying now to balance whatever they believe, and now whatever you are confronting them as a fact, telling them this is the fact, they will never buy that. If at all anything, they will actually try to moderate it and make it look parallel from whatever you are saying. And they will even tell you have overreacted on this, despite that it is the ideal fact. So, fellow Kenyans, I think it's good to discuss about the interview and whatever came out of Laila. However, Laila is not on contest because by the end of the day, Laila forever said, nice, I think he's 82. We just need to allow this old man to rest and continue just playing his games, because what he's doing right now, even if he were to say anything, he's not using his own mind. He's only trying to make you feel good and feel that he has spoken and he has said something, even if he doesn't mean what he's saying. And for sure, for him even to tell you that I'll be supporting Ruto in 2027, it's ironical because the truth is, you can even read the mood, even as time goes. He's trying to remain relevant so that he can appear like he's in control, the way Anton was just saying. But the truth is, Raila has lost control, and we don't even need to deliberate about him. If we don't want to lose our focus on the interest of what we are for the nation and what we are chasing, by the end of the day, Laila is just like another dog barking on the door, and now we want to start throwing stones at him. It will not help us. Can we keep on the focus? Can we watch on what we want? What are we looking for? What are we focused on? And what's our end goal and our end result? Right now, if we would be thinking about actually ensuring that we mobilize as many people as possible, for the Gen Zs who do not have ideas, for them to get ideas, and then we start also pushing for registration as to become registered voters. Then from there, now we should be focusing on also kicking Ruto out, not waiting for 2027. We should kick Ruto out before 2027. I thought we would be discussing about that Prado in Machakos and the 20 million again in Machakos. I think that would be a good thing if we would discuss about that. It's okay. I really appreciate that we feel it's a good topic to discuss. But Laila, right now, he has lived his life. He has done what he could have done for this country. Any other decision that he makes, either it's being right or wrong, Raila will remain to be right, because as by his age right now, he cannot make any great change in our nation. And that's what I would wish to submit. Kindly, let's not lose the focus or lose ourselves trying to put Raila in the topic while he cannot help us much right now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to stay on there because I want to address something with you on this. I keep clarifying this for everybody that is joining. Raila is not our topic for today. I want to be clear, and I've said it 10 times and I will repeat it again. What we are addressing are some key issues that came up in the interview that he had, which cannot be ignored. And one among them is the issue of what does he think? And of course, let's talk about them. Needs to happen with the IBC in terms, and of course, he talked about the restoring the confidence, the trust, and all that, registration of the voters, cleaning up the register. and of course the IDs, and we shouldn't even be talking about voter cards and stuff like that, which I think they are no longer in use. So in that regard, Josephine, before Wanda comes in, then what is the strategy in place for the citizens to participate in the cleanup of the voter register? Because I think we are relying on the same secretary that has been there in place, and of course with the the now commission being there, but the secretary is going to be doing the same thing they've been doing. And do we believe and trust that these people are going to give us a clean voter register as things look at this time? Okay, that's not even a fair question. And what should we do to make sure that we have a clean voter register? Jocelyn, before I go to...
Thank you very much. Basically, right now, or what has been happening in the previous years, IBC has been doing the cleaning of the voter register, and then it is shared in the public domain for people to see. So that if there's anybody and this person is dead and is still in the register, you can raise queries. That's what has happened. Right now, we do not know which criteria they will carry out. But our key thing here is not even the register, because the truth is we cannot claim that we have around 1 million dead people in the country right now, even since the previous election to up to the next election. What we need is to have all the Gen Zs registered as registered voters and in the right places where they are sure they will vote from there. That's the only way we shall knock this government down and down. Because I'm looking forward to see it coming up the way it happened in 2002, whereby actually the margin which actually the election was won was so huge that even Moi having all the powers and all authorities, he just raised up his hands and surrendered. And they said, we cannot do anything about it. And that's what I'm looking at. If we have as many youths as possible registered, I think we have around 11 million youths who are not registered. Once we get them registered, then we are good to go. Let Ruto do whatever he thinks he can do, but I can assure you he's not going to win.
What I need is, and of course, and I believe you being in that arena, what has come up, including what John Bandi said, probably I think maybe yesterday or the day before, and what probably has been in the public domain is that successful governments have been suppressing even issues of IDs, sometimes even voter registration into, especially to territories that they find that they are more hostile to the government. Now, we have seen cases where, and the case in point is the one for Samburu, where Kipchumba Murkomen is talking about the 92,000 registered citizens who don't have IDs. I don't know what that phrase means. And then he's sending the chiefs and the sub-chiefs to go and look for them to come and get the IDs. Now, we are dealing with real issues affecting real people. What mechanisms can be in place, or can we propose to ensure that there's fair and make sure there's maximum registration of persons when it comes to getting the IDs for those that have attained the age? Is there anything practically different that can be done other than still relying on the government of the day? Is there anything that can practically be done?
Basically,
and then I'll bring in Wanda.
Thank you very much, Justice. Basically, actually, that is the same government which is supposed to register these citizens and give them IDs. So our role right now is pushing to see as many are arrived as possible for issuing IDs to the people. And when we don't see that, we push the government and make them know that we need registration to take place and we need people to be issued with IDs. Otherwise, it's the only government who's supposed to do that. But otherwise, once we keep on relying on what Kipchumba, Kina Oscar Sudi are telling us, they are trying to distract us from the main agenda. So that by the time we wake up,
but
already
the movement is the government. You're saying we tell the government, no, Josephine, get me right here. You're saying we should tell the government instead of relying to Kipchumba is the government. It's actually the minister for Interior that is in charge of that registration. Do we need to? Is there an audit system that can be generated? Is there something? I want you to think through that, because I have another question. If you are not leaving right away, I have another question for you later. Let me bring in Mwalimu Wanda. I'll bring you on that. One, I think I had your hand up. And I want you to submit on that. But I also want us to really look into this issue of our discussion today, that it is not about Raila, it's about the contents of that interview and the issues that came up, which have far-reaching implications when it comes to our civic duty, our next elections, and all that. And that's probably how I want us people to interpret this, so that it doesn't look like I'm here to defend Baba. You see, even my co-host, Mutai, ended up changing. I'd said, do you still have questions for Baba? They had to change the name from Baba to Raila. It's okay. Wanda, come in.
Justice hatuwezi raise your hand. Sijui mbona. We cannot raise hand to you. Sijui mbona.
Okay, go ahead. Tommy, did you want to?
Thank you so much.
Okay, after that, Tommy will come in. Sorry, Tommy. After Wanda, proceed.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And I like how you're putting it that the moment we narrow down the discussion to discuss an individual, then we end up losing it. For instance, I look into his argument and his logic in feeling like if a NADCO report was implemented, maybe the Gen Zs would not have rioted or protested. And to me, I'll say it is true. It's only that we are not looking at things analytically. Instead, we are discussing an individual. I want us to look into one of what NADCO reports ended up proposing in the name of the cost of living and ensuring the economic sustainability of the individuals or the citizens. According to the NADCO report, it was proposed that at least 50%, at least a 50% reduction in the travel budgets for all arms of government. Then I want you to look into how many times we have had people complaining and even terming the president as Ule President Wachopa. They even ended up, or at some point, even ended up feeling like he's not a Kenyan president, but a tourist or a visit at some point. And part of it economically, that 30% was to be cut in the daily allowances for the state officers. Then we had the fuel levies being reduced. Look at the last part in this section. They talk of the housing levy in the sense that, they were against the housing levy or the VAT on the fuel, but instead to have different alternatives being presented in addressing the housing levy plus the VAT on fuel. Therefore, if you look into those reports without looking into who is saying this, then chances are we may end up looking at it and analyze, is it actually true that if specifics were introduced or implemented, we wouldn't have had the challenges that we are facing and actually faced in 2024. Still looking into the IBC as a body that deals with elections, then a person telling you or telling us that we need to ask it questions, we need to ask these team questions and be convinced. Let them convince us that they can actually conduct a free, fair elections. Then look into at some point what was said in a meeting that we had SK Masharia in this meeting with Raila, a team of persons asking him to back the Gachagua team. Then some persons presenting and saying, we told you that we have been winning elections or we wouldn't have won the elections because the register is not clean. Therefore, look at this. If we're asking IBC questions insofar as how are you guys going to clean up the register so that we are so sure that the register is clean? To me, if we look at it and approach it from a point of not who is saying this, but what is being said, then we'll end up getting it right. Now, still looking into, I've listened to the Honorable submitting, I wish you well, but I disagree with you on a number of things. We cannot be talking about people registering, getting the IDs, and we have not addressed the fact that the register is not clean. If I'm told the register is not clean, if I'm told there is a manipulation of a register, then there is a motive behind manipulation of the register. If you don't address the manipulation of the register, then even if you register in numbers and have so many people with the IDs and actually registering as voters, you have not addressed the ill motive behind the register not being clean. So if my motive behind the register not being clean goes on to ensure that I will always have a 50% plus one votes because of the register, by the way I want it to look, I need to register in millions. My 50% plus one votes will still stand. So the question to me is, before you even ask persons to go and register as voters, and I'm not saying people should not register as voters, but my concern here is whoever is ensuring that the register is not clean is doing it with an intention of ensuring that 50% plus one will always be in their favor. So even if you register and have not addressed my mindset of ensuring I have 50% plus one vote, then what you're doing will never bear the fruits that you want. Therefore, I'll propose a case of, let us find a formula of how do we ensure the register is clean. Number two, how do we speed up the process of speed up the process in the register of persons in ensuring that so many people now register as Kenyans and have the national ID cards. But one, clean the register. Two, speed up, figure out how do you speed up the identification, the process of people getting the ID cards. Two or three, speed up the process of ensuring that people are registered as voters and civic education is conducted, and every person is now able to vote based on ideologies, not based on individuals, not based on tribes, and actually the government is ensured, or the government has assured the country that will not have people only able to campaign in a certain quarter and not the other quarter. Justice.
Yeah, thank you for that. And again, at some point, we'll have to, of course, try to come to terms that, the issues of IDs, obviously, that's the work of the government, I believe it's the Minister of Interior. Registration of voters is the independent commission, that's IBC. The audits were done the last time. Tommy, as you come in, I know KPMG flagged about 1.18 million. Some cleanup was done. People were rushing, never did it in the right way. I mean, there's a lot surrounding that register that we can talk about. But Tommy, and then Josephine's hand is up. Japonji is here too. So, Tommy, go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir, very much. I just have very few questions. But as I got with the question after watching the interview, if you have any question with Raila, I just have a small question on Raila. Because after his first few words, he watched the servers and he had questions on the servers. But after the servers, he decided to join the government. Why didn't he decide to tell us what owns on the server? Najua, when we voted for Raila, we didn't voted for ODM or any other thing. I personally voted for Raila as individual, knowing that there are changes Raila personally, as an individual, can make changes in this country. So why did he has to join the government bila kutuambia, ama he just wanted for his own benefit? That was my question to His Excellency Raila. I've been voting for Raila for a couple of years, like 2-3 times. So, Mr. Odinga, please, mi nimekuvotia for a couple of years. Kama unanisikiza, kama uko kwa hii space, ama kama kuna mtu kwa hii space, mi baba nimekuvotia for 3 times. Na wewe ukaamua kujoin government na uliangalia server, mbona utaki kutuambia what was on the server? Because tuliandamana na watu, more than 70 people died kwa maandamano yako on 2022, na hujatuambia nini ilikuwa server. Because umetuambia first 3, 4, 5 words, umetuambia you watch the server na ukajua what was on server, but hujafungua mdomo wako kutuambia what was on server. Umenyamazia. If everyone watched the interview, Raila spoke very categorically. He watched the server ifunguliwe na akajua what was in the server, na hataki kutuambia what was there inside. So I'm asking Honorable Raila Odinga, if you're listening to me, mtu wako wa damu wa kukupigia kura miaka yote hiyo, ni nini iko kwa server?
Thank you. Maybe after Honorable Japon can tell us.
Justice, I wanted to chip in. There was a speaker who was asking about how Raila, I think Leol, the co-host, she was asking how exactly was Baba meant to save Kenya when he said that was that the question, if I'm not wrong?
I think it was Mutai who asked. Mutai asked that question.
Yes. So personally, what I think is, when Gen Z went on the streets and the military were also out there, there were like some options on the table. The first option was if Ruto were to resign that day, then we could have had like Rigathi Gachagua. And I think to someone like Raila and a lot of Kenyans, they were like, no, Rigathi is a no-go zone. So that is one of, I think this is my personal opinion. So I think that is one of the reasons. The other reason is, if you look at the military, he was not sure if the military can stand together because there is some division in terms of tribe and all that. And maybe anarchy would come in or will return into Somalia and all that. So, and the other point is, I think the status quo, people like Uhuru were scared, of losing the status quo, and the benefit. So they are like, they are okay with the system because they are benefiting from the system. Because if things were to be reset, we know what would happen. Most of them will lose. For example, if we were to put that TGRC, Ndongo land report and all that, if we were to implement those, most of them would remain, like hustlers, So I think that is my thought. So in that sense, so Baba seems to be like he was saving Kenya from all that. Thank you, Justice.
Yeah, a good thought. And then before Justin comes in, you want to take a stab at what is being asked, that why is this server not being opened? And is there a process? Because I know the one of the work that the IB is supposed to do is to audit the previous elections. I think it's part of the requirements. So in this kind of audit, how can we legally get access to that server if there was a case like that? What's your point?
I'm so sorry, Justice. I didn't get the question right. Please summarize the question. Sorry.
IBC is required to do an audit of the previous elections. And one of the questions that Tommy asked is, Raila had told his supporters that they have had access to information in the server and they knew that they won, but the server could not be open legally for people to assess it and all that. So Is there a way that the citizens can demand outside of Raila and other players? Is there a way citizens can demand to have access to the server or for the server?
I think Justice. I think the same question was someone responded to the same question last week here by saying that if you take the elements or details of the server to a court of law, which means you obtained those elements or the material illegally. So you are a hacker. You had to hack through the system to find those material. So it cannot be used in a court of law as it is not admissible in court of law. I think that is, but I think it was shared. Details of the server for the 2022 election at some point they were leaked. But also, just as you have to ask yourself, do you trust that message? Or the person who is, giving you that message, the messenger or the message. So those are two different points also. Because justice, you cannot come to my house, go through my house without a warrant, take out something, and then go and claim that you found that in my house, So it doesn't work like that. I don't know, but I think someone responded like that in this house. Some legal expert. Thank you.
Thank you. I bring in Mheshimiwa Josephine.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Very well. Proceed.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to try to talk to all of us, and we also need to ask ourselves, in which direction do we want to move to? Because one thing is that you cannot go and buy a padlock to lock a house that is not in existence, or to lock a house which the door is already broken. And now, if you would only go and buy a padlock before having an house, then what are you going to lock? Why am I saying this? I beg to differ with Wanda when he says that we don't need to tell people to get registered as registered as voters as we wait for the register to be cleaned. Because in all the years, it does happen. There is always a cleanup by the IEBC. It's only that now we have a new chair whom we don't know how he's going to work. But now, as he does the cleaning, actually we should be expecting first they do the registration. After the registration of new members, now they start weeding who is dead, who is not supposed to be in the voters register. Then it's put in the public domain. On the other hand, Justice, you had asked me about whether we can have any other way on how to protect the election. And the truth is, anything that has to be done within the election, within the Independent and Election and Boundaries Commission is very clear. Anything that has to take a change, it has to take an effect 2 years prior the election. So, and anything that has to be changed, it has to go to the parliament to be changed or maybe be brought to the public so that we can make new laws so that we can change. Right now, we have only 2 years left to election. In the case there is anything that would be amended in the election and boundaries laws, then that means we actually adjourn the election not taking place in 2027. Because again, it has to go through the parliament for them to certify that and then to pass it so that it becomes a law so that it can be used in the election. We should always remember, in Kenya, we are governed by the constitution. We just don't wake up and make a law. So all the laws which are supposed to be effected, they have to be passed through the parliament. And if there's any change of the law, it has to be done through the parliament again. So that's why I'm finding it so difficult.
I get your point. I'm not even asking for any change of law or anything. I'm asking within the existing law and the way we are talking about registration, suppression of voter issuance and the registration. Is there any mechanism, is anything that the citizens can do within their power to ensure that what the government has tried to do in the past to suppress the voter registration, issues of IDs and stuff like that is being prohibited? Because we keep saying, let's mobilize. but we know the tactics the government has used in the past. What can we practically do to ensure that this thing does not happen in these coming elections? Within the current law, I don't want us to change. I'm not even asking for us to change anything.
The only thing that needs to be done is the IEBC. One, is it well funded? If it's well funded, then we only now need to push them so that they meet the mandate and our expectations, so that they meet the timeline which is given by the Constitution. And that's the best thing we can do. We want to hear them moving very fast, announcing that when they are starting to register people as voters. And also we need to see it running concurrently with the ID, issuing of the IDs. Because if that would run concurrently, then we'll have killed one bird with two birds with one stone. If they can run concurrently. Yeah.
Justice, can I ask Josephine a question? Joseph, is it Joseph? Josephine, I have a question for you. Okay, there is this death registry, okay, from the Interior Ministry, okay? That is the Birth and Death Registrar Act, Chapter 149 of the Kenyan Constitution. And this one is with the government. They have the monopoly of the registrar and the list. So, do you think, since we don't have the audited report and they don't show us to the public as mandated, do you think they can use this list, to make sure that dead voters do vote? Or how do you think we should go about it, you as Josephine? Thank you.
Thank you. This is what I want to remind you guys. Let's take it let's think about it like we should not look at the negative so much, because if we start thinking about the government is the custodian of all the documentaries in the country. That's one thing we need to remember. And the government is the custodian. What is the next thing? We only look forward to see it that after realizing
I'm losing Josephine.
After realizing that the government has given the authority, now the IEBC is the one to tell us we are not able to win the voters register because the government has not added the register for the death and the death and births in this country. That's the only way we can win out, but we cannot say that we will wait until we win out, because it's the IEBC to give us feedback and tell us we were supposed to print the voters register, but the government has declined to issue us with that documentary. If the IEBC tells us that, then now we can take it head on collision. But as at now, we cannot jump the fire before even they
actually have. I'll let Mutai come in. Hang on a second. I just wanted to bring it to Josephine attention that the IBC told us that, and I did read the ILOG report after KPMG issued their report towards the last elections, and also what the other independent observers came in, and they actually the ones who raised the specific question that you guys are addressing about the deaths, and this is because some of it the government did actually have it, because some deaths were never reported. Remember, there were 5 things about it. Deaths were never reported, and IDs were never returned. Once someone passes, IDs were never returned, and there were several other things. So these reports have been there. And the other reason that Chebukati's team gave is that it was too late to even do an actual cleanup. So these are reports. There's already a report out there. What I'm seeking is there anybody doing anything with that report? That's probably what I'm asking. So I'm asking too much of these questions. But I appreciate just the report that indeed all these things can run concurrently. And we need, or did you send me a report or something? Okay, Japonja, I thought. Yeah, so I want us to, Mutai, you had your hand up. I think I want to be the right person to say something about it. And then you can bring in Hannah and Rito. And then, of course, Tommy can also make a comment on that. But I appreciate Josephine's perspectives. I want you guys to pay attention to those because they are related to what IBs can do. How do we hold them accountable? How do they give us periodical updates? where they stuck and what we can do. Thank you very much. Mutai.
Thank you, Justice. Personally, I do not believe that we can do anything when it comes to the voter register. Yes, of course, we being the people who want to bring change in the next election, what we can only do is let us go the polling station. Okay, I know that I should be calling integrity into the process, and how we can assert this integrity is that each and every polling station, it's more like a community. It is more of people who know themselves. So let them bring us the register that they do have right now. Let them publish every polling station's register. Let our people go to this polling station and mark their names. I feel that that process is more simple. Now, the only issue will come in where we have ghost polling stations, where we have ghost people, and now we want to be able to influence anything when it comes to that. I myself believe that it is okay people with ID cards just go and vote because they have an ID, which I'm very much okay with that. But now the question of the issuance of ID cards to people who are not even citizens of Kenya becomes the problem. If we have someone, say, who just came in from the border yesterday and is given the ID card, hata hajui kuongea Kiswahili, and then we want this same person to go and vote, the same person that doesn't even pay taxes to the government because the kind of work that they do does not fall into any tax bracket or is not being taxed. And the people now who are being taxed are the people who go to the polling station to vote, but their kind of voting is unable to make any change or make any influence because there are other factors at play. Anyway, the whole thing about the voter register, I think it's more of a conundrum, given that we have very many parties at play. We have the citizens who are interested, we have the political elites who are interested, and we have foreign entities who are actually also interested. Have we forgotten that even when it came to voter verification, we had the smartmatic people from Venezuela, and people who have actually had international outcry wherever they've conducted the election. I don't know how this can be done, but myself, I do believe that we can start from the polling stations in itself. Let these people bring in the list from for each and every polling station. Myself, it's a primary school over there. I will go, just like we normally do during the, what do we call this thing, the 2009-2019 census. Yeah, people went home, they were given a break to go. So let them give us a 1 week break. Let us enjoy the holiday. Let us go and see whether our names are in the register. And for those people, we obviously know our neighbors who are dead and are still in the register. So we'll know how to weed them out, simple. You asked me to welcome Diritu. Diritu, good evening.
Good evening to you. Hi Risasi, nimeona Risasi yuko hapo. That is my friend. I'm very fine. Japoji, hi. How everybody? I hope you are all doing.
Derito, karibu.
I'm very, very fine. Thank you very much. I didn't look at the interview because we are being taken in circles, if you can understand what I'm trying to say. And nobody is coming with a good, the people in government, those who are in government and those who are not in government but find themselves in government with exceptions because of some contracts, like Raila, they're not coming with a point of good understanding. Wanakuja na their own understanding. Do we need a talk? No, not really. We only want the laws of Kenya to be followed. That's it. There is nothing more for the moment because Raila is just a person like you and me. That is what my understanding is. He is not a person in the politics or even in government as we speak. He has nothing that he can say or can initiate the doing of anything. We have seen that with the 10-point agenda. So him just saying that we need a talk. Who are we talking with? With ourselves. We already know what we want as the people of Kenya. We know what the first thing is. The economy needs to work for everybody, not the people in government to overtake the economy as if it is theirs. That is the fact and the reality on the ground. And then on top of that, we need just people to be following the law. The people of Kenya are following the law, but those who are in government are not following the law. That's it. We start with that. Then we find a good government, which is going to look at where the people are and where the people want to go, but not this government. This government does not give a damn. I have actually looked at everything that this government is doing, and nothing, and not even anybody wants to talk to the Gen Z in the point where they want to understand the reality and what is hitting them to go on the streets. Ruto is not stupid. He has not been in the government for the first time, so that we say that he knew he is a mono or something like that. No. He has always been in government. Since he finished, I don't know, he became the friend of Moi. But you see, you cannot tell such a person to change, yet he knows he is there on a trail. That means, anachukua, alisema yeye mwenyewe, hata isi mimi, I don't need to even reiterate what he says. He said himself that he's there for a reason and he has a mission. So, if a person has a mission, and the mission is that normally it's what you are being given by the people to do, but you are not doing what the people are asking you to do. You're doing what you want to do for yourself and the people that you want, because he's now surrounded with the oligarchy. You cannot even talk to this person. There is no law that's going to be changed with him. He is going to change law for himself. So the fact that already we are talking about conclave, it's not going to work. It's not going to work with this context, because the reality on the ground is that people wamefinyika and they do not have time to sit down at 40 people in each constituency. I'm like, what the? Do you know how many people we are? We are 55 million. 55 million, you just look at the constituency, how many are they? Then put 40 people, then add to it, and then say, we the people, we are going to pay again for us to sit down and talk about the reality on the ground. Seriously, there are things which do not make sense, because what is the need of the people of Kenya paying taxes to the government to have services which they do not have? And then on top of that, initiate themselves to pay for themselves another sum so that they can sit down and talk about the reality of what is going on and how to change Kenya. It will not
Derito,
work.
sorry to interject, Derito. I have a question for you, Derito. Do you think if we were to blame anyone for the handshake government, should we blame Raila or we blame Ruto for bringing Raila in? Whom would you blame if we were to blame someone? Thank you. Please continue.
Okay, when it comes to blaming will not solve a problem. Because my problem is not the people who are the personage, the people, Raila here and Ruto here. I have no problem with them talking, because it's not like they have never talked. These people talk behind the scene. My problem is once you talk, once you are given a mandate, once you sign a contract, what comes forth from it? And up to this point, nothing has come from it, anything. There's nothing from the point of Raila and from the point of Ruto. So at the end of the day, we are still in the same area where we were. The problem is just that Raila now is in government, or he's not in government, but he's receiving a good salary with the same people who are paying the taxes, which is us, and we have the same problems. So at the end of the day, let's look at the problem. Is the problem solved? Now, nobody is there to Hakuna mtu anakuja na roho safi anasema ati wacha ni yenyewe nimeenda pale, I have to make this thing go through. Nothing. They are just in their own world doing their own things, and at the end of the day Kenyans are left on their own. And it's even with this conclave or enclave, it will still be the same problem. Thank you very much.
Nderitu, if you can allow me to ask you a question, Nderitu, were you ever in support of the Building Bridges initiative?
BBI.
No. BBI. No. I usually say, can I finish just 1 minute, because you cannot just. There are 22 reports that are taking what we call it, uchafu in the parliament. Okay, 22. These reports, people sat down. In these reports, there were pastors, there were members of parliament, there were people from the society, there were elders. 22. They are in the parliament. None of it, and they were paid. Actually, they were even paid. I can remember they were being paid a lot. There is the one which Ishungwa was in, and he was even complaining that the amount is small. So you imagine there are 22 reports, and none of them has been given to, even has come to mature. Nothing has been implemented. So what are you expecting that will come from a BBI thing? Nothing, absolutely nothing, because none of them are coming to Kenyans with the good hearts that they are going to change anything for the Kenyans.
Thank you, Nderitu.
Okay, thank you, Nderitu.
As we bring in academia, sorry, co-host, I'm just leaving. As I bring in academia, I wanted to ask last question to Nderitu. Nderitu, why do you think it's so hard for the new president who comes in, to implement all those reports that you're talking about? Or how hard is it for the new president to take in the former president into account for whatever wrong he did? Why do you think it's so difficult? Thank you. As I bring in academia in 2 minutes.
All of them are, you know, once you are in a government which has stayed for quite a long time, like the ones we have, because we always renew, exchange the people in parties. Mara Musalia yuko hapa, Mara Musalia yuko pale, Mara Ruto yuko hapa, Ruto yuko. So they have done things which I can tell you maybe they are very, very bad in terms of economy, one, and in terms of injustices, two. So even if you try as much as possible to make sure that there is a good person coming in, kuna mahali atashikiwa, because they are not clean. None of them are clean. That is where the problem is. So that is the reason as to why anybody who goes into government, as much as possible, you have to look at the person who has not stolen and the person who has never killed. We have to be very careful in form of to make sure that we follow the law. First, the foremost is to follow the law. Then afterwards, we're going to follow the other things. Because Kenyans tumeibiwa mpaka imeisha. Hakuna kitu imebakia kwa hiyo inchi. Every time there's a government, they put the economy, the budget is exploding. You get to ask yourself, there is nothing that is showing with that budget. But where is the money going? That is the reason as to why anybody who's going there anaenda kuiba. And that is the mentality, even for the Gen Zs that we have right now who want to go to government. The older people on the ground, wanafikiria the same mentality is going to happen to them. And that is why you hear people telling them, how am I going to trust you that when you go there, you're not going to steal our money like the others who have stolen our money. So you see, tunaenda in circles again and again and again. And unless we cut that circle, there is no way we are going to save that country. Thank you very much.
Japonji.
Mutai, you can moderate. I'll be back like in 30 minutes, please. I think academia was
Okay.
next. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Academia, before you come in, I'll ask Nderitu so that you can join that question. Nderitu, just yes or no, do you trust the IEBC?
As is, no, not yet. No.
Okay, thank you very much. Academia, good morning, good afternoon, good night. How are you doing today?
Yes. Seems like that is Mutai. How are you doing? I'm good.
It's really great to hear that you're fine. Did you watch the interview yesterday? Raila's interview?
How do you miss an icon in the entire universe? Like that would be felony. You do that, you will be facing serious charges if you miss that
Right.
interview. Yeah.
You do know that you're actually setting mood when you call him an icon. A lot of people in here will disagree about that.
No, the objective reality is what I'm basing my argument on. If you decide to not support, but that is your prerogative, right? I won't force you, but the fact of the matter is an icon in the continent, not just in Kenya. Anyway, that is by the way. Now tell me.
Okay.
What do I need to
Now that you
respond?
believe that he's an icon, Academia, now that you believe that he's an icon, do you feel that he's going to sway the Kenyan people into agreeing with him that dialogue is good for the country and that we shall have it?
You are actually making a lot of mistakes. You don't say that you believe. I'm stating statement of facts. It's not about belief. That's really you. Yeah. We are stating facts.
No.
As the guy not being a former, as the guy not being a prime minister. No, look. As the guy not have been a prime minister in Kenya.
He has been.
The right honorable. Now, once you are given the name, the title of the right honorable, it has just come. It's not for anybody. Very few people have that, like sir. So move on. Now, anyway, that for entertainment for now. Now, should I start with the topic, or you've exhausted the topic, so we move to other serious matters?
You can start with the topic.
Let me respond to your question that you'd ask. You have asked Nderitu. I trust IEBC. This IEBC, I trust them with the work. There are people there that are qualified. If you look at their qualification, you must say that they are qualified. And they are one of the best individuals in Kenya to be trusted by Kenyans to take the role of IEBC. There is no doubt. Otherwise, if you have doubt, it means we couldn't have them in the first place. So for me, I would trust IEBC. Now, moving forward.
No, but is this the same IBC where there is word everywhere that some monkey business was conducted to bring in people who are related to the powers that be, whether it's the president, whether it's Junet Mohammed, or it's so on. So there's some of some sort. I know people will tell me, oh, yeah, that does not mean if you are related to somebody, you cannot work. You can work as a civil servant, but in offices that have had history of being manipulated and doubted, and have actually almost made our country completely collapse. IBC is the worst thing that I've ever seen in the universe, the Kenyan IBC. So when I hear that this IBC, we trust it, of course, they haven't proven to be like, but everything we have had in the past, of all the commissions, this is the thing that every single time has made us blood being spilled in this land all the time, just because of the mistakes done by IBC. And right now, you play some games to us so that you can bring in and swear people in. There's so much confusion. I mean, where do you draw your confidence from?
Justice for all. The process of having IEBC or just the commission in office, it is public. You know the procedure.
But there's nothing public about hiding some 6 names and adding them to the list when they were not there in the beginning.
Tell me,
How is that public?
No, those are hearsay because you must demonstrate with the evidence that actually this commissioner was introduced outside the guidelines. So, and we have courts. If you feel that was illegal, move to court, have it done in the court. You will get answered there.
Yeah, but you see that. But you see that's how we destroy countries. That's how we destroy countries, especially Kenya. When you always hide behind this court, go to court, you get this. When we know perception matters, because but if we keep saying that if you are aggrieved, go to court. Even you kill and you conceal evidence and they cannot be found, or you compromise your way in. The point I'm making is that this IBC. Yes, we have had questionable things. If I were president and I have Nanok working in my office, the person who works for me when I was governor should not be the chair of the IBC. Like, how is that rocket science to anybody?
Let me tell you, Justice, you are using a lot of energy. You will dehydrate for no reason.
I have it and I'm prepared when it comes to this one.
Let me tell you, I follow procedure, I follow law. Reconstitution of IEBC, just look, reconstitution of IEBC was conducted in a manner that is described and subscribed by the Constitution to the letter. If you have any legality as to the commissioners or what happened, I think there are some petitions that were taken to court, unless you don't believe in the decision of the court. So I don't think what you're saying is factual. No, that's not true. And then
what
there
I'm
is nothing.
What I'm saying is that some
nothing.
things,
Just wait.
There is nothing matters are morality. Morality cannot be decided by the courts.
Just wait. You don't need to. Just wait. There is nothing under the law like perception. Law does not pay attention to perception. No, that is not true. That is political. So if you want to deal with political statements, then let's go to politics and find whether we will get answer using that political statement or not. But like your name, Justice for All, I think by going with that name, you should ensure that law is followed. So I'm worried. I'm just worried. Just wait. What you people you are interjecting for many things. I'm just worried if there is breach of the protocol in the manner that they were appointed from the beginning to the end. If there was a problem with the law, maybe the president skipped something, violated, maybe something like that, I will not support that. But as long as he followed the normal procedure, I don't think we can begin to ask who was put there, because this is a public institution and people applied publicly, people interviewed publicly, and look at the processes from 1, 2, 3, 4, then approved by the parliament. So all these processes, after all these are done, then you come and tell us that you had some people were introduced through the back door. You just had that apprehension is not something that factual. So we cannot use that to.
I'm gonna play for you the clip because that question was asked in Parliament of Kenya that was vetting these individuals. Academia, we are telling you things that were asked and answered. Even the relationship of these people.
Look. Whether answered, whether asked or answered. No, whether asked or answered, that is a problem. The problem is do we have that particular individual? You should be telling me the individual commissioner so and so was introduced or picked outside the guidelines. We can have a talk or a conversation like that. But if you are asking me, because this is a process that involves so many people, so somebody can just ask out of curiosity. But that does not mean if you ask me something, it is factual. No, it's just a question. You have to go ahead and demonstrate and substantiate your argument. So you cannot blame for people who ask the parliament. What I want to know, whether there are any commissioner introduced who did not go through the process, then we can have a talk from there. If there is any, I don't think they can sit in that office. That will be nullified. That commission will be thrown out. But if you are just talking of hearsays, then that is not for us.
The talk you're supposed to have is the same one you always tell us in this space as a senior person here contributing, that let us be sincere. The sincerity we have, and you are being insincere today, is that only the law is going to save Kenya. Because what has happened in the past is not a matter of the law. It's a matter of the immoral way that we try to circumvent the law so that we can get our way. And then we know we are going to hide by saying, oh, go to court.
Correct. I understand. Let me ask you, Justice. One, did the president follow the law in the appointment of the IEBC?
It did. That's why this guy is there to be sworn twice, I think.
Correct.
In fact, even the gazettement, it doesn't follow anything. Yeah.
Okay. So, did he follow the law or did he not follow the law? Because those people cannot be in the office outside the parameters of the procedure laid down. They cannot be in that office. We will remove them because that is unconstitutional. But now, once they are sworn in by this Chief Justice herself, that means the process was procedural, was lawful. So as to whether somebody was introduced through the back door, to me, I'm not going to answer that hearsay. That is perception. Okay, we understand perception is very key in this matter because it's a public, they must build public trust. To that extent, I agree with you. But we don't have such. Those who are just allegations. So there is no evidence to support that. So leave that part alone. Now let us proceed whether Kenyans trust the IBC or not, because we have to have an IBC in place, Justice. So whether you don't like them or not, you cannot collect the entire country to sit down to decide who becomes the IEBC chairman. You can't have them. It is not that is impossible. So why do we always argue when the process is followed, or you have a problem with the individuals appointed to that office?
No, we have no problem with individuals. I don't know them. I don't give so much care about individuals. The issue is they are qualified and they look good. But if you have a situation where lack of confidence in the IBC has led us to lose so many lives after every election because of how they have conducted it. Number one, obviously, taking too much money that they don't need, but that's a different story. Then you, as academia, you are the president. The closest you can do is to try as much as possible not to put doubts in the mind of the citizens through the people that you appoint who seem to be closely related to those who are trying to consolidate power. I think it's something that you go sit down with yourself and say, what can I do? I know, yes, they are qualified. I know doing the right thing, but there's a country here to save. Instead of even introducing this discussion into the minds of the people, I want to bring people that are not affiliated to those people affiliated either to the State House, to the politicians, and things like those. Like, what I'm asking here is that I'm not questioning the legality here now. I'm questioning when people question the handshakes, I just keep and laugh. These are not legal things, but these are things that you ask yourself, what can I do to save the country? And we have seen it happen in many countries, in many places, whether it's in Africa or otherwise. So for me, what I ask is that if we are only going to say, but because of legality and all, that's the only parameter we are going to use, then we continue losing the country.
So
Okay.
just so that we don't make it a podcast now, let me just ask you, Chief Justice.
Yeah. And then we'll come in.
So the problem is the IEBC chairperson or chairman in this case, as a man, being perceived to be close associate with the State House controller, the former governor of Turkana, Nanok Josephat. So that's the contentious issue there.
That's one contention. That's one contention. One big contention.
Okay. So that's the only thing that you're worried about.
No, there's an in-law to Junet Mohammed, who is now the biggest cow for Ruto.
Oh, okay,
Probably
okay.
that. There is, I mean, I don't. You make your submission, because now I'm getting personal on this, because I'm struggling to see why you can't see it. Maybe I'm the one who's not seeing it. So I'll let you submit.
I'm not dealing with the moral issue here, because IEBC is a constitutional body. So if we bring moral things, we lose the aspect of the bigger picture. So we have to ensure that that constitutional body
conflict of interest is a conflict of interest is a legal issue. It's not only a moral issue.
Which is true, but in this case it does not apply. Because the person, Nanok, is not running for any office. And if that is the case, then Ruto is the number one civil servant as the head of state. He can have influence over anybody within the Republic of Kenya if he chooses to do so. That's a fact. If he chooses to get you justice, if you are in this space today and you are in Kenya, he can make that request and you can be apprehended or just be taken to him because of the power he has. So if that is the case, then anybody that will be elected there, the president can influence them or can influence that person because he has the power and he has the resources, and that power favors him in many parameters. So I don't think that is a big issue to me, because many times all these people are we have made that process to be political. So you expect the interest to take center stage. Anytime you are dealing with a political question, the first thing you look at is the interest of the interested party who are involved in that case. So we need to remove it away from the politicians, because president is elected through by the people. The office is a politician, by the way. So if you want an IEBC devoid of any political affiliation, you have to do that amendment to remove the process of appointing IEBC not to be in the hands of politicians. That one we can now talk. But the moment that it is almost 3/4 of the process is controlled by politicians, then you have no choice but to accept, because law gives them that mandate to do so. So to me, that's what I would suggest. You people, you've interjected me. Let me just stop there for now so that people can talk. I will come and you ask me something different from the IEBC, then we proceed from there.
Thank you very much, Academia. Although you have really taken us around these issues, you speak that if we have an issue with a certain process, then we must take it to the court. But remember that it is the same court that tells you get over it, or it tells you, that was hot air. It is not the kind of language that I think court should be using when it comes to perception. And I know there is the legal perception and there is the perception by the people. And I feel that that is what justice was trying to bring to your attention. But then every other time you're trying to, just play around with his statement. Anyway, apart from that, academia, as much as you've taken your break, when you come back, I wish to ask you very many more. And I would also wish to maybe have you, before you go, have you tell me something. Do you believe that a person's tribe can actually play a role in influencing their support in any kind of policy? And also ethics.
Let me come back
Academia.
after this. They have been waiting for. So allow me to come after these two people. It will be okay.
Okay, sure. Okay,
Yes.
sure. Ambassador of Truth. Hello, Kamondo. How are you? Ambassador? Looks like Ambassador is not around. So I'll have Ndirito come in. Ndirito, do you wish to maybe rebut or add something on what Academia said?
Yes. Academia actually, at the end of the day, at the end of what he says, it's the reality. We have just to change the system whereby the president at the end is devoid to to choose anybody in the IBC. It should be a system whereby the people themselves can go and ask like a job. You go ask for a contract, and you are chosen because it has nothing to do with the presidency. The problem now lies when it comes to judiciary, where I asked Paul Muite how the judiciary can also be devoided from being chosen or being influenced by the political. And the problem in there is money. Because if they had their own treasury, whereby they can be given money without passing through the presidency. Now, you see, these are things that we can say we would have talked in the talk which Raila is suggesting. But now, if the people who are going to come to talk to us or who are going to deal with the problems that we are seeing being portrayed and being influencing the political sphere, are the same people who are going to ask us to talk. It's going to be a very bad issue, because now the judiciary, they are being influenced because of the money. You see, now, because if they want a budget which can work for everybody, they wananyimwa. So they have to go back and beg the same politician who are going to talk in the parliamentary, who are going to give it to, it goes around and round. And it's like every system that we have in the country, which is supposed to defend the people of Kenya, is surrounded, but not even surrounded. It's being controlled by one person who is in the middle. So this is the issues where we are supposed to get rid of. We are supposed to clean them out, because once they are cleaned, we see now the system working for us, not for them. But them, they are just administrators. Now, then we are going to talk about it. But when it comes to the IBC, as we speak right now, I have issues with them. Not the people who have been selected, but the process itself, because we have there are people who have been working the whole year and they have been being paid the whole year, yet we still have the problem with the IDs, the voters cards, and also other issues which normally they are not supposed to be up to this point. Even the way Kindiki was being sworn in, he had to be cleared by somebody. Normally, he was supposed to be cleared by the chairman of the IBC or the chairwoman of the IBC. But you see, now it was cleared by the secretary. So there are issues that we need to deal with when it comes to the IBC. So I'll leave it to that.
And Ndiritu, you have actually raised an important thing when it comes to financial autonomy of the different arms of government. But you do understand that even when it comes to countries with evolved democracies, the president enjoys the benefits of appointing even the Supreme Court judges, right?
True, but mostly in Africa. Not every country is doing that because, like I said, we have people who in Africa, the ruling party, which does not care about the people. That is where we have a problem. They are not centering themselves to the people. They are centering themselves to the riches. And that is where we go wrong every time. In spite of all the laws, in spite of all the mechanism that we put in place, we have people who do not love their country as much as the people themselves. So that is where we are going wrong.
Okay. The point that I just wanted to pass across is it might be true that this kind of presidential appointments also makes people want to do whatever the president has said. But in truth, if you look at the JD, it states that they have to be dependent of the president or the political power that is in place. And when it comes to the rule of law, just as you had said earlier on, that if everyone could just follow what they're supposed to be doing, if everyone could just fall in line and use the law as a guide or as a basis, then everything would be okay. I myself, I do not dispute presidential appointments. I believe that the president should be able to enjoy the benefits that comes with being elected as a president, because you see, the presidency is a political space, and you, as a president, you would want a team that that aligns with a team that believes in your ideologies, that believes in your agendas, and you would want to work with them as much as they are of different arms.
Now there is where you are going wrong, because even in a company, it's not the president who actually takes care of the people who are coming inside the company. That means there is a HR. The HR has to know what is needed in the company. And now, from there on, the HR will be looking at the persons that are coming to the interview with a different eye view. That means with specific intention. But that is where we are going wrong, even with the presidency, because the
Are we trying
presidency,
to address the issue of the
but we do have the parliament playing the role of the HR,
which has been taken in by the presidency. So at the end of the day, we are in the wrong.
Yeah, it's a bad way of doing business. Yeah, I want us to advance today. I think, Mutai, and your point, I think today I want to end this early, probably in about 19 minutes or so, 20 minutes, because I think I got a call that just came in that I need to be somewhere by 3, by 10. So yeah, so let's if you guys don't mind, if you can bring in last man standing. There's one other subtopic I wanted us to address about 2027 predictions, but if we don't find time, that's fine. Last man standing. Karibu to this conversation. We are here almost every day and trying to restructure this to have a political conversation that look into the temperature of the country, what is making the headlines, and what is influencing people's decisions as we proceed. So, karibu sana.
Yeah, thank you so much, Justice Paul, and all in the panel. So mine was just simple. As I was passing by and I realized that you guys are holding this space, and I saw it is nice for me at least to come and say something, whereby I've been following what has been going on in our country, and I just get sick because I can't really fathom what are these people. What do they need? Do we need to have loudspeakers, or we need to have AI to communicate the message to these people? We don't need any dialogue, guys. Let's be true. We just need systems to work. It's as simple as that. If the economy is doing fine, no one will go to protest. If the law is followed, no one will go to the streets. So the ideas of someone coming and talking to us, telling us we need a conclave for intergenerations, how will it help us? The thing is, these people, they just want to buy time to make us forget what we are demanding for. We are demanding for good governance. We are demanding for following the rule of law, like what you're talking about right now about IBC, judiciary, all these things started in 2012 when the ICC suspects, Uhuru and Ruto, came into power. And we know very well their cases ended because most of the suspects were eliminated. And lawlessness started from that particular point. We had a good leader by the name of Kibaki. We never had all this nonsense when Kibaki was ruling. Actually, it is that other guy who I don't even want to mention his name here because I just feel is a big letdown after I've been supporting this dude for a very long time, thinking that he is really the Messiah of the country, but just to realize that he has been playing games. And I really apologize to the people of Kenya. People used to call us cows by supporting that one guy from the lakeside. And I was like, you guys, this is demeaning. There was a time, those who voted for the other guy now, who is ruling us, they told us, we voted for that guy because we never had an alternative. And I'm glad that the political scenario in Kenya is changing now, where we are now discussing issue-based politics. It is not about where you're coming from. It's not about who you are. It's not about how much money do you have. You've seen those who have shown interest. Some are telling you that I will maybe just have a million, then the rest, you people can support it. If you believe in what I'm saying, if you believe in what you want me to do for you. So let's move away from following people blindly and their views. Some people we know very well, they don't have anything that they are doing, like that broad-based government. Some offices, what is Mudavadi doing? What is that other office of which was supposed to be?
But Mudavadi is the foreign and diaspora, whatever affairs cabinet secretary.
Okay, what achievement has he done? We need to see things at the. That's why you remember just this week, last week, we were seeing a lot of people praising Ababu Namwamba. Okay, Ababu did good, but there was some issues like when he was taking, taking these the likes of is it Aziad to Dubai, and not prioritizing those people who matters, like the runners, the athletes. But at least we can see what he did. What is Mudavadi doing? What difference what is the difference before he came in and after? So let's stop all these. These people, they need to stop wasting our resources further. They have wasted a lot because a lot of, like 1 million are coming into the market, joblessness market every year. So where will these people be absorbed? They're talking of taking people outside countries. Like now, if you've gone through the news, UAE, it's not allowing visitors from Kenya under 40 years. What does that mean? Young people used to go to UAE, then tarmac there. But now the government wants to control that because that directive, actually, the president himself is the one who said that a lot of people are going to countries like UAE without working visas. Yet the jobs that the jobs that they were providing, like Qatar jobs, you could see what Alfred Mutua was telling us, that some people are going there, they are sick, some people, I don't know. Now they want to control everything. And the thing is, they just want to make
sure these youth, they remain jobless, they frustrate them, charging them with are we going to talk? You're
Yeah, I know.
pressing
As
my
we
neck
advance from the
when
talking,
you're telling me on a round table.
but now people are moving to 2027. One of the issues that we have been addressing is that you think that people are talking about issues. People have always talked about issues as long as I've been an adult and of voting age from 1997 when I started being part of the voting age up to now. We talked about issues. What happens when you get to the voting itself? We don't vote about those issues. We vote about, we talk about, we go to the regions and the bloc and of course the tribes and who is winning. I don't think there is any demonstration yet to show that people have shifted their mindset from voting according to their tribe and their kingpins, and now they're going to vote according to issues.
Actually, what I can say is we had moved like 2 steps forward on that particular issue. But again, these people, they have used all they can in their what they can because they have money. They have tried to use that to divide us. And that's why you see recently they gifted one pastor from Ukambani with a Land Cruiser. Why was it that way? To divide and rule. They just want to divide and rule. The pressure was mounting, and that's why you can see it was a movement whereby we did not we did not identify you by where you're coming from. We did not identify you by what you speak, what is your language, what is your age, where are you from. So they have this. They're trying to dilute that, but
no, they're not diluting. Let's go back to the last elections. What they're doing here, they are still building new class. Is the building class. The classism has been one of the dangers, especially when it comes to politics. And what we are dealing with, especially in Kenya, we vote for you if our kingpin is up there. In the last election, predominantly, we had to let's get the votes from Wamnyor, let's get the votes from Ruto, let's get the votes from Baba Waroma, and then from there, you win. And then we go to the next election, we say, okay, let's get the votes maybe hoping from Ukambani and then get the votes from somewhere else. I mean, this has been it's a cycle after cycle. The whole point of putting the church and of course investing in the richest folk in terms of those gifts and bribes, it's another new phenomenon that we used significantly in 2022, and it's going to play a role in 2027. I mean, those are not the issues. The people voted because the other one was a Christian born again, and I suppose how is that an issue of governance?
Yeah, actually, yeah, it is an issue, but I was trying to explain to you that we are really moving away from that. That's why at the moment you will see these young people. You saw a clip of one young lady who decided to ban a Bible. Did you see that?
I haven't seen it. It would be unfortunate for me if I saw that, but I haven't seen it. But
okay. I'm
already sad to hear that.
The young people, what they're saying, we did not leave God. We left the church, but we did not leave God. People from Central, the young people from Central, you will not hear them subscribing to these ideas of Wamnyoro. They'll be like, we want to drain the swamp. So that's why we are trying now to do what we call, we have to educate those people. We get them the civic education, those people in the villages. And what the young people are saying now, it is if those people in the village, our mothers and our grandmothers, if in 2027, if we reach 2027, because most of us actually, we don't even want to reach that 2027. We are saying half term. That's why we don't want to subscribe to anything about Wamnyoro about any politician. All of them are the same. You can see what they are trying to push us into now. In 2007, people fought. It was really bad. The issue of Mungiki is resurfacing right now, and you know very well what these people cost. So the young people and the movement, and that's why if it is, we cannot say it is also classes and whatever, because it was a Gen Z. But now the Gen Z, it is not only Gen Z, but it is Gen Zote. Gen Zote means even if you're an alpha, if you are boomer, provided your mind is not colonized by those ideas that these politicians had, the like of Raila, the like of Kalonzo, all those people. So we want to forge forward whereby we just need good governance. We need constitutionalism. Lastly, I'll say this. These young people, they used not to, they did not concentrate with politics. They never bothered, but now they are awoke. A lot of people, even some, I've been speaking with a lot of people, everyone is awake. And what people are saying is, for example, a member of parliament has this bursary, yeah? MCA has a bursary, president, whatever. Why don't you bring all that money to one kitty, make quality free primary, free secondary, and free tertiary education? Why is it that Kindiki and the group are moving with the empowerment, whatever? And they told us they found empty coffers. Why don't they bring that money and put in one kitty, save this economy of our country? What
Appreciate it.
mind?
Thank you. I want you to land in a minute.
Do they have any brain? I really don't understand. What is the problem with Kenyan politicians?
It's about leadership and governance, and I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to start having people give their final submissions. Staying there with us, last man standing. I want to have people make their final submissions, but these ones are going to be extremely, a little bit challenging because I'm asking very direct questions that might make some of you uncomfortable. All right, question number 1. I'm asking, and I'll start from whoever has a mic. I'll ask, for William Ruto to win, does he pick Mudavadi as the running mate, Kindiki, Sabina Chege, or Gladys Wanga? Let's start with just pick one of the combinations. Mutai, what do you think?
He will pick none of them.
None of them. All right. Academia? Oh, Kim has gone to bed. Hannah?
I don't care. Why should I care?
That's fine. That's your answer. I'll move on. Last man standing?
So that one is the final submission.
No, I have a final. I have 2 more questions.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just doing a simple survey here. Last man standing?
I'm really sorry I cannot participate in that. So unfortunate.
Thank you. Second question. Second phase is if Kalonzo runs for president, who does he pick as the running mate? Fred Matiang'i, George Natembea, or Eugene Wamalo? Mutai?
Natembea.
Natembea. Olwande?
Answer those questions because I don't know.
That's fine. Academia? I'm a professor, so if you don't want to answer the question, I proceed. Don't feel bad, by the way. It's not a mandatory. The other one is none of the above. So those who are saying none of the above, it's okay. So don't think it's academia.
I don't give a shit.
Please don't use that language here. We try to avoid that as much as we can. Last man, do you try that?
I can't, and I will support my answer. I'll support why I'm saying this. I'm
No, that's
subscribing.
fine. That's fine. No, we're coming to final submission.
Okay, sure.
All off on that. And then a final question. It's on who does, and this is open-minded, probably open answer, really not minded. Mutai, if Maraga were to run, who does he pick as running mate? To win, not who does he pick to win, in your opinion?
Not very specific, but I'll just state the age that he would pick someone of around at least 45 years and below. Okay, I'm fronting my person, Faith Odhiambo of LSK.
Faith Odhiambo, okay. Olwande?
Pass.
Academia? Academia is sleeping. Derito?
Pass.
Last man standing?
Yeah, anyone can fit in there, provided they're subscribing to what.
Oh gosh, you guys don't follow instructions. I get so excited. I'm just asking a simple question. You get time to talk.
Yeah.
Okay, final one.
I'm sorry to say this. We are living. It's like we are programmed.
How do you get time to talk? You can pass. You get time to talk. Each one of you is gonna get 2 minutes to submit.
Pass.
Final one. Okay. So final one. This is the no. Final one. Omtata. Who does he pick? Mutai? And again, you all wanna pass, it's fine.
Omtata would probably work well with let me try to remember the name. It's trying to come.
Okay. Luande, you participating in that? No? Oh, and probably not. Academia still sleeping?
Justice,
I'll send them to you because I have them written down. I'm collecting some data here for some.
Unasemaje, Justice?
Oh gosh, you missed 4 questions. I'm on the last one. If Omtata were to run, who does he pick as the running mate?
Omtata. Omtata. You give me the people because Omtata himself, I don't know whether he's going to run or not.
I have to ask the first 3 questions quickly. Give me the first 3 questions. William Ruto, who does he win with? Musalia, Kindiki, Sabina, Wanga.
It is between Musalia and Wanga. What I would go with Musalia. Kindiki out, Chege out.
Fine. Okay, Musalia there. And then the next one was Kalonzo. Who does he win with? Matiang'i, Natembea, and Wamalo.
Actually, Kalonzo has many options. Matiang'i is there.
No, give me one. I'm just speaking. It's a survey.
No, Roger. I'm not a yes or no person. Yes
okay, that's what I've been trying to stop everybody.
Just wait, because
you'll speak. Okay, give me one answer.
What you've given me many names. I cannot just pick so and so because I have to look at the value. Natembea. Okay. I have to analyze them before I pick on one. How do I just pick on one without analyzing?
I will get to that. Let me ask you the third question. Who does Maraga do you think can win with? That's an open question.
I don't know who is running that Maraga can pick for now.
All right, so I'm gonna give everybody 2 minutes so that we can do our closing in the interest of time until the time we meet again. I appreciate you being part of our conversation today.
Who are you taking that thing for? Which company?
I'm trying to build a team, and I think that will be unveiling it soon. That we'll be conducting opinion polls for every team, not affiliated to anybody, not related to anybody. So I'm working it's gonna be, yes, yeah. And you've been seeing me do like a few polling here and there, and it's more of trying to assess the where we are and all that. That's why it's difficult to have explanations, because then you get a skewed kind of results. And I've been a pollster before, so I have to clarify that so that the instructions are clear. All right, so let's give our final submission. Olwanda, you handed submitted. Thank you for joining. Maybe it's a last minute. If you can share your thoughts on the subject, and then so it's gonna be one submission today, and then we proceed. Olwanda. Yeah, Olwanda, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Karibu. Proceed, please. Oh, man. Okay. Let's go to the last man standing.
Can you hear me?
Final submission. Yes, we can, but you are muted if you are speaking.
Okay, I'm so sorry. So I was just listening and I heard people saying like right now people know what they want, and I beg to disagree, because the analysis that I'm seeing based on people's arguments, I don't think people really know what they want as per now. And people want to like cling to leaders who have really messed up this country. And I think tribalism is still playing a heavy effect, even if we want to live in denial, but that is the truth. And in fact, I could see it from the video I shot today, I think on TikTok. I could see even the comments, I could see how people are reasoning in terms of when it comes to politics. They're still looking at it based on wherever they are coming from, be it Luos, Kikuyus, and etc. So I think it is our responsibility also to highlight that, and also maybe talk to people at our capacity to change their minds. Thank you.
Mutai.
Sorry, I'll go to last man standing. Proceed.
Yeah, thank you. So mine is that we need to emancipate ourselves from this mental slavery. And going forward, we will forge forward. We just need to see how we can return this country back to track. Then we will amend all those other stuff, because we still think that the system that we are using, even the constitution that we have, it's the most powerful constitution, but useless because it's not assisting us in anything. We need to follow law. And let's avoid this issue of like the questions that, I'm sorry, the question that you are asking. It's just the same question that these mainstream media, they like giving us choices. That's why we find ourselves without more options. Like last time we had the like of Raila and Ruto. Raila and Fulani. You know, we have a lot of leaders that they are good out there, not necessarily these political class that have been there. People like Francis Atwoli and all these people, you know them, they have been there. We have 56 million Kenyans. Even for you, justice, I think maybe you can be a very good leader, but because we are just boxed, it's programmed based. We don't want that. We want a Kenya that is working. Let everyone know. Every person needs to know this. We just need a working system. Rule of law. You see, judiciary and executive, you cannot differentiate, because someone was talking about judiciary. They are going to beg for money so that they can go forward. We had Vision 2030. Other countries like China now, they're talking of Vision 2080. Our Vision 2030, we could have at least upgraded it now to Vision 2050 or Vision 2060. But Uhuru tried. What is Ruto doing? We just need that, the footprint. We don't need all these other ulabalus. Everything is in the constitution, how you're supposed to run the country. The Vision 2030, it is there. If you want to develop a road like expand Mombasa to Busia Road, it is there. The funds, where will the funds come from? It is there. So let's just do that. Let's leave
Appreciate
this political thing.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Dorita.
Thank you. Mimi ile kitu nitasema ni ati every 10 years we have to look at the law, we have to look at our constitution. We have to remove all things which are not important to us and replace them with things which really, really do matter as per every 10 years. The thing about Vision 2030, it's very sad that we can't even follow something very small like that one. Yet we want to be first world. How can we be first world? Yet we are unable to even finish up the work that was left to us by somebody who was not very good, but at least had somewhat of a vision. So hii mambo ya kuletewa sijui CBC from Europe, and then we have another thing now. Everything is just being brought in the country by other countries because we are so in debt, and we have to stop it. And we have to really look at ourselves, and not by talking about the conclave, by sitting down and making issues to be real and solving them one by one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Talking much.
No worries. Thank you very much. Academy?
Justice Mutai to ask me something. I don't know, but now the lineup is out. I saw some lineup there with Kalonzo and all and that. I wish them well. Let them just be, and Matiang'i and all that. So you will have to choose your side. If you are Munyoro, if you are Ruto, you decide. The battle line has been drawn. It is now do or die.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Mutai, and thank you for co-hosting. Karibu.
Asante sana, Justice. My parting shot is just to say that I think we're a bit delusional. Most of the things here we've said, they are very theoretical, not pragmatic, even the suggestions that most of you have made. And being a Gen Z, I would love to say that if you look at the statistics, the aggregated statistics of the DCP party, if they were courageous enough to publish them, you'd be shocked that a huge percentage of the registered people or members are actually the Gen Zs. And it hurts me to say that when I hear someone say that we have beaten the tribal lines, I feel that it's being delusional. It's incorrect. Yes, we are trying to, but some people are still dragging us down. I'd also love to just my parting shot just to say these people may take away our everything. They may take away our wealth, our pride, but they will never take away who we are. So to change this world, to change this beloved country, then we must stand firm with what we believe in, what we ourselves know is the truth. And as we speak truth to power, let us also speak truth to ourselves. I'd just love to echo what Barack Muluka said today on Spice FM, that as we advocate for dialogue, we must advocate for a dialogue with our souls first, with our own inner self, before we want to dialogue with other people, so that we can have something fruitful. Thank you very much, Justice. And hello, everyone. Let's keep connecting.
Thank you very much, Mutai, and I also want to appreciate all of you for creating time to be with us here today on our conversation on justice for all. We will continue building on this as we have a conversation. This is a purely political space that we analyze the current affairs, historical perspectives, and also make predictions of the future. We try to tie the past, look at the present, and of course, where we are heading to. And of course, as you know, those of you who have been in the political landscape for a while, you understand that things keep shifting on a daily basis. I know, having been an official conducting the polls in outside the country for probably the last 5 elections, I have learned quite a bit, even when mobilizing, going out there to campaign and mobilize resources and all that. And I can tell you, sometimes we sit down and listen, and you say that, are we being naive, or are we being realistic, or maybe optimistic without strategy? What I would encourage is that as you all work together to make Kenya a better place, let's be very intentional in the way that we are addressing these issues. But I know together we can make Kenya a better place. But we have to start by making ourselves better. That's why one by one, we become a big community. I wish you a very good night. God bless you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.